What is going on, everybody? It is episode 455 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. She's freezing. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. It's true. I'm freezing like Brett's frosted tips.
Hey, look.
She is hiding right now. And we also have the completion to our fake blonde trio today.
What's up, you guys?
Lauren.
It's Link. How are you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. When you guys picked me up from the airport, we hit a deer.
It was traumatic, life-changing.
So I'm happy to be alive. Unlike the deer, but I'm here.
And you're usually in a city, right? So getting deer hit is not something that normally happens.
No, I spent a lot of time in Wyoming. I've grown up in small towns, big cities. I'm fine with deer, moose, all of it. We try not to hit them.
Yeah.
So
tell everybody who you are, what you do.
So what's up, you guys? Thank you for having me. My name is Link Lauren. I cover news, politics, pop culture on my TikTok page, and it's grown a lot the past year, so I get to be here with you guys. I've interviewed a few presidential candidates covering the debates, interviewed Marianne Williamson, RFK
That
Jr.,
is so cool.
Vivek.
I only care about Marianne.
It was interesting. Shout out to Marianne. And so, yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Wait, so what does Marianne Williamson, what is her platform?
Her platform is Joe Biden approved the Willow Project, which she's not happy about. Her platform is pretty much just a left-wing Democratic platform.
All right.
I don't really care about her policies. I think she's just beautiful and a crystal chick.
Yeah, she's absolutely a crystal chick. That is 100%.
And she just she goes off of vibes.
Yeah.
She's definitely about the vibes. You know, there were all those rumors that Marianne Williamson mistreated her staff or threw phones or something. Allegedly, all these stories.
Klobuchar.
No, what Klobuchar did. She had a spoon,
salad with a comb, like a goblin.
No, I thought it was fixed her hair with a spoon or with a fork.
I have no idea. What I can say is Marianne Williamson's team was super nice to schedule with, and she was very nice. So I told her, I was like, I know they're trying to cancel you, but everyone I talked to was really nice.
Yeah.
So
somebody in the chat says, Brett, where is your Seattle Mariners hat? I'm from Minnesota, so I split my time between Seattle Mariners hats and Minnesota Twins hats and then Minnesota sports teams hats. So that's where that is. Guys, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Share this video with your friends so that more people can come in, hang out with us during these live streams. Also, so that they will check out the segments whenever those go live. And remember, all super chats today, $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read those super chats right then and there, and then we will do our best to get back on topic. We will do. It's not always easy.
No promises.
One of the things that we were talking about the other day was Phil was saying that sometimes when you're just in the middle of a sentence and you just forget what the hell because that happens, right? You're saying something and you're just lost it. I had a great point, but I don't know where it went. But then,
Since
of course,
you're mentioning it, it's gonna happen today.
Oh yeah.
But no shame in it. No shame in it. And it's worse when you try to just get back to the topic. Just say you lost your train of thought, and we'll move on. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. All right, so we're going to be talking today about a bunch of celebrities have signed this form in which they want to stop the banning of books, when what they really mean is they want to stop the banning of sexually explicit materials in schools because they're celebrities, meaning that they're either evil or they just don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I saw the headline and stupidly was oh, they're defending Roald Dahl.
No.
And I looked at the article and realized it wasn't.
Yeah.
Is it sad, or does it say something more about me being jaded that I just assumed that they were there to support the books that shouldn't be allowed for all ages?
They're
right?
Put Mein Kampf back on Amazon.
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Kathy Griffin, who, for all intents and purposes, accused Kanye West of physically abusing Bianca Censori. It's actually kind of shocking how she just blurts it out. It's crazy.
And with how litigious people are these days, does she not think a defamation suit is gonna slap her in the face?
Yeah.
I feel like after what she did with Trump's head and the whole world coming at her, she's probably man, what do I? She's already lost everything. So
no, but she's
point,
at that point, she's what can't I do? I'm invincible.
Right.
Yeah. she probably thinks I can decapitate Trump for a publicity stunt, and people are going to defend me for it, so I can just do anything I want now.
But she got into a fair amount of trouble for that. Like
at the time, but I think like after the fact, everyone was like, it's an overreaction. We should apologize to Kathy Griffin.
I refuse to apologize to Kathy Griffin.
Nobody cares that she did that anymore.
So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about there have been several articles that have come out in the last couple of days. Celebrities who are now, guys, as the election cycle grows closer. I don't care about the politics. I care about the insufferable celebrities who are now going to make that. First time. There you go. We got a $20 one there, Mary, from the Ninja from Pop Culture Planet.
Okay, what is he saying?
Yeah.
He said, "Beep bop boop, we are here."
Yes, they are here. So
that's it.
Well, thank you for that.
So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about celebrities who are throwing their hats in the rings for various politicians. Also, they're gonna tell you annoyingly to go out and vote when what they really mean is go out and vote the way we want. Mm-hmm. We're gonna talk about it because that stuff is going to become more and more commonplace as the election grows closer.
For sure.
Also, we are gonna talk about Taylor Swift and the re-release of 1989.
She's including a vault track, which means it's never heard before, called Slut. And I don't know if I could just say that word. Like, I have to say the word on YouTube.
Yeah.
The song is called Slut, which means it's probably a song where she complains about slut shaming. So we're going to talk about her comments on slut shaming.
We got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. So if you guys are ready, we'll get right into it. Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Let's go. All right. So first things first, bad news. I put a poll up today, ladies and gentlemen. Let me double check here. I asked you guys how you feel about ads on streaming services and on television, and I wanted to know what people said. So far, 81% say that they hate ads in movies and television. Probably not as much as I hate ads.
I like
in
ads
movies and
because
television.
I'm a woman and I like consuming products.
No, I mean, that's like, isn't the long-held belief supposed to be that like
advertisement
the reason,
is for women
because the women control the pocketbooks in marriage?
I like ads because that's when I check my phone and go on TikTok and Twitter. Like when ads come on the TV, I'm like, okay, this is time to check my phone and check.
I never even thought about that because like I just sit there. I'm like, one of my biggest I actually go off about this like every so often. It's like my phone has effectively destroyed my attention span.
Okay.
Right? In a lot of ways, I like going to the movies because it forces me to not.
Imagine
to be
that.
present.
We're like congratulating ourselves in 2023. Like I was able to look at one screen for 2 hours instead of two.
Well, I posted like you ever get like those like on Instagram or Facebook. I don't use Facebook anymore, but you'll get like you posted this many years ago, and it was like this thing I posted from like 2019 during like right as COVID started, and I had like 4 monitors in my room.
No,
like I had 4 TVs that all had 4 different things on it. And it was like the greatest image. Like if you were to look at like what has happened to my attention span, it was like
insane.
Vintage video games, streaming movies that were on that I had found on the
alternative streaming platforms,
and then also like live TV. So it's like, and you wonder why your brain can't focus on anything.
Right. Well, this is why I can't go see Oppenheimer because I've heard it's like 3 hours long, like every Christopher Nolan movie. So I just can't sit there that long. You know, I want to watch it when it comes out on TV at home and I can skim through. Yeah.
I actually really, really liked Oppenheimer.
I'm going
to see it at some point. I'm going to see it at some point. Yeah.
And that's another thing, guys. We'll get to the thing in a minute here, but I was like trying to make a list of 10 movies I've liked this year. I've only made it to 9.
Oh no.
And we've seen quite.
But you included TV shows, which is cheating. It's just
one TV show. I included Twisted Metal.
I don't think I've been to the movies in so long. I never saw Barbie, which is apparently one of the top grossing movies of all time. I haven't seen anything.
No,
but your hair is giving. It's giving.
I know Kinergy.
Yeah.
It just became the 11th highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah, no,
that's insane.
I'll watch it at some point.
Yep. We got a $20 one there from Nate.
It says,
Lord.
I'm excited to learn what various politicians the celebrities support.
Actually, no, here's the thing. I think you will be a little bit surprised by the ones that I found. So we'll get into that. So anyway, Amazon is finally planning to bring commercial breaks to Prime Video, which sucks because it is
what we've all been waiting for.
It's one of the few streaming services that is held off on introducing an ad tier. So now you're going to have to pay $3 more if you want to watch Amazon Prime without ads. And all of these streaming services now have started to include like these 15-second spots for their own products.
Right.
Like if you like, I mean, I know I'm literally the only one on earth who uses Paramount Plus, but if you watch Paramount Plus, you get like a 15-second ad at the end of the movie, or sometimes in the last 20 minutes of the episode for like some type of Paramount Plus original show, and it's 15 seconds long. I'm like, that's 15 seconds that I paid not to have. And then somebody actually had the gall to say, it's not an ad, it's a trailer. I never block people. I almost blocked this dude. I'm like, no, you are the one who will do awful things at the behest of the government because they told you it was okay.
Is this saying that like even now if you pay, because you know on Amazon Prime you can pay to do no ads or to get in HD, are they saying that there's going to be no ads tier now? Everybody has to deal with ads?
No, the no ads tier will just go up by $3. So the what you're paying for now will become the ad tier.
Okay.
And Amazon has the best business model because they're the only one who's not actually reliant on people watching their service because it's all subsidized from the fact that we're all consumerist losers now who can't not order things. You have no idea how excited I got earlier when like I had to buy like these hard to find light bulbs.
Okay.
And I got super excited. I'm like, they're here! Because like there was just no light bulbs in my room. So like,
did you order them from Amazon or from another site?
I had to order them from Amazon because it's for like a fixture that they did not have them.
But see, if we don't order from Amazon, how is Jeff Bezos going to take his girlfriend on more yacht vacations? You know, we have to order from Amazon.
Fiance now,
right?
Fiance now.
How's he going to pay back that ring?
Yeah. Exactly. So you will have to watch ads on Amazon Prime unless you want to pay more for it, which I will because I hate ads. So
because you're a slave.
I am. So the poll is open right now, and 82% are saying that they do not. 81% are saying that yes, they hate ads. So
I voted no.
Right. There's big news from Lizzo today. That wasn't even on purpose. That was holy crap. Okay,
big news.
Okay, so she just won an award. She just won an award on the heels of a new lawsuit. It's kind of crazy. She was given a humanitarian award just as this new lawsuit from a woman named Asha Daniels has come out.
She was honored with the Black Music Action Coalition's Humanitarian Award and surrounded herself with about 20 plus-sized women and said she's going to continue to amplify the voices of marginalized people because I have a microphone and I know how to use it. And I will continue to represent and create safe spaces for Black fat women because that's what the F I do.
Say fat?
Wow.
Yes.
This sounds like the Olympics of virtue signaling. This award show, I've never heard of this award show, but shout out to them.
She actually said fat?
This new lawsuit doesn't actually... Well, fat's not considered an insult anymore because of people like this. Okay. But her lawsuit doesn't actually accuse her of doing anything. It's somebody on her team. So it's not that interesting, but
I still think it's interesting because she makes a big deal about how she's the one in charge and it's her show. She's running the show. And when you're the one in charge, the buck stops with you. The lady's name is Asha Daniels, who was hired as a stylist for her. And she was hired by a woman on Lizzo's team named Amanda Nomura.
And she is skinny.
Yes.
The stylist is skinny. And she allegedly called Black women on the tour dumb, useless, and fat.
The Nomura lady called her that, not Asha Daniels. Asha Daniels is the one who's filing the suit. Yeah, and then this all happens as Lizzo wins an award.
Oh my God.
and you have actual experience with Lizzo.
Yes.
So all these stories coming out about Lizzo not being nice, like why do we expect these celebrities to be, you know, angelic savior beings? You know what I'm saying? Like I went to a party years ago. So my birthday was always on Fashion Week when I was living in New York, and I was never cool enough to go to Fashion Week parties on my own, but I had friends who could go, and I'm like, look, you don't have to get me anything for my birthday, but can I be your +1 to a cool party? So I went to a party in 2017. Lizzo was the performer and the singer. Now this was like pre-Lizzo.
Yeah, she wasn't famous yet.
She was not famous yet. She had a song called Phone. She had a song called Excuse Me. Like she hadn't had any hits yet. And she was known then for kind of having attitude, not being that nice. It has nothing to do with the color of her skin, nothing to do with her gender, nothing to do with her size. It just was what it was. And I'm like, I don't expect my celebrities to be that nice all the time. I don't expect her to be that person. Who cares?
But she was like mean before she even had the celebrity to justify.
Yeah, she kind of had an attitude then. So
a lot of times you have to be
What do you mean
mean.
by she was rude? Like, did you have an encounter with her?
The person who planned it said she was rude and difficult to work with, and then was supposed to stay and talk to people, and then allegedly didn't. I mean, we're talking about 2017, 2018. So that was just something that stuck in the back of my mind. And then when I would hear stories through the years, because I felt like stuff was bubbling up with Lizzo for actually quite a while before the lawsuits, but then she just got sued by I think 3 of her dancers, and now she's being sued by this. Like the thing about the dancers though is she was telling them that they were gaining weight allegedly and they needed to lose weight. It's like taking weight loss advice from Lizzo is like taking driver's ed from Stevie Wonder. Like some things you should never do. It's true.
It is true, however, though, that like whenever celebrities act out, I'm just like, I expect them to be bad people a lot of times. It's why we would laugh when we would talk about Gwyneth Paltrow seeming inaccessible as a celebrity. It's like, as long as you embrace it, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you embrace the fact that, and I think that's where there's a big difference between men and women, is they make a lot of complaints about, like, when women act bad, they make a big deal out about a big deal about it. When men do it, they don't seem to care. It's like, yeah, because the men embrace it. It becomes part of their persona to be hard-nosed, right? Whereas the women want to, front load a persona of kindness and virtue while then being awful behind the scenes. And you should have that same complaint about men who front load virtue and kindness while being awful behind the scenes. But as long as they embrace it and they don't pretend to be something they're not, I guess I don't really care.
Yeah, I think
you choose to work for them.
Right.
That's what's so perplexing about the Russell Brand thing, because his whole
Shtick.
persona, his whole shtick was like, I'm a maniac sex addict rock star who does whatever he wants. I'm disgusting and a pervert. And like,
I wonder if
we're
anything's going to come out like
surprised.
David Duchovny eventually, given that was like his
From
whole
Californication.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know him from the X-Files, but also from California. But that was his big thing in Californication, is because it was basically it was a true to life version. It was a larger than life version of what David Duchovny actually was, which was an admitted sex addict. I imagine that he's got more than a few stories that would not be good by today's
My thing is also, it's
society.
like, I'm an adult. I can separate the art from the artist. So I still listen to music, sorry you guys, by people who've been canceled. I still might watch Californication if y'all try to cancel David Duchovny. I love him. He's a great actor. So I don't really understand this whole cancel culture. Also, the thing with Russell Brand is they were trying to cancel him, demonetize him, deplatform him. But aren't you innocent until proven guilty? Like, why are we just canceling someone now with absolutely no due process?
Not in America anymore. Now the media is judge, jury, and executioner, unfortunately.
It's
Well,
really
more
sinister.
so big tech is they dole out the consequences.
And I really do believe that for the most part, like, to me, I'm so numb to all the bad things that people like are accused of doing that I'll just watch any, like, Kevin Spacey comes out with a new movie. Fine.
Right.
I don't care anymore.
Amber
because,
Heard
like,
has a new movie coming out.
I'm still gonna watch what I just saw the other day, that Seven turned 20. The movie Seven turned 28. I'm still gonna watch it. I'm still gonna watch The Usual Suspects.
Well,
it's not gonna stop me from watching their stuff.
Like I've been saying for months, why are we holding celebrities to this high standard like they're moral human beings? I mean, these are people who protected Harvey Weinstein for years. These are people who rode on Epstein's jet to and from the island. I mean, why are we expecting them now, 2023, to be perfect?
Because they pretend to be now. The thing is, they're pretending to be better than they are. So it's like, I wasn't holding you to that standard before, but now that you're pretending that you're great, I will hold you to the standards you're setting for everyone else.
Right. And also, people will go dig something up from 10, 15, 20 years ago and then hold it against them like it happened yesterday. And there really isn't any due process, any trial. My whole thing is like, if someone comes out totally guilty, they're found guilty and they're given a fair trial, I can accept that. But if someone's just, they say they've done something and there's no due process at all, I have a hard time canceling someone just off of a headline that comes out.
And most people have their own biases anyways towards who they think is innocent or guilty. Like, everyone just kind of decided that Masterson was guilty. Everyone just kind of decided that Russell Brand was
from
being
70 Show.
and everybody else decided that Russell Brand was being railroaded. Most of us were not in the courtroom or not privy to all of the information. And I don't believe that most people did extensive research into it. They just kind of said, look, I don't like the look of this guy. Because I don't like him, he's guilty. Whereas we had a question the other day where I asked, I said, do you believe Russell Brand is innocent, guilty, or is it complicated? Look, it's complicated. And I think it was a majority said innocent, and then second was it's complicated. And I think at the end of the day, the right answer is like, it is a very complicated thing. And if none of us were there, we don't know.
Right.
We just don't know. So, but you know what? Since I don't like Lizzo, she's guilty. She's a bad person. Kick her off the internet. Get rid of her music. And ban her from the cafeteria. I don't want her anywhere near there. We don't want that here. So,
I feel like we should start a version of The View or a show like that, but it's just a panel of 5 people who've been totally canceled by pop culture. Like, pick people like Lizzo and some others and put them on a panel. That's going to be a hit show. Like, that's going to be number one show.
Who would you pick for that?
Who's been? I can't even keep up with who's been canceled recently.
It's I want
Everyone.
Louis C.K. on that panel.
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby. That's convicted in a court
Are we
of law.
talking
That's
about
different.
unfair
Yeah.
cancellation?
Yeah.
only? Okay.
So Gina Carano.
Yeah.
Louis C.K.
No, and Louis C.K. too. Like, his whole brand was like, I'm a pervert and I'm a porn addict and I jerk off all the time. And he literally made jokes about doing exactly what he was accused of doing.
Or also like,
And everyone loved it.
you know how like Drew Barrymore and Bill Maher under fire because they were going to bring their shows back during the strike?
Yeah. Oh,
It's like,
yeah. They went crazy on them. for
maybe
that.
we should like force them into a studio to do a show together. Like, you guys have to do a show together now. Like, you have to sit there and be verbally waterboarded by Drew for half an hour. That's the new show.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be
Verbally
fantastic.
waterboarded. Love that.
There's I mean, a lot of it's like you said, like Roseanne. Roseanne's another one. Somebody said Roseanne.
Well, she
Like,
has a show on X.
a lot
doesn't she?
of people.
Roseanne's thriving though. Like,
Yes.
Roseanne's actually
Is her
everywhere.
show
So is
out
Louis
yet?
C.K. Like a lot of I don't think it's out yet. But a lot of these people, they just had to embrace a new audience or a new method of
Right.
releasing their content, and realizing that going through the same 4 or 5 massive conglomerates isn't the only way
Right.
to make a living. Especially if you've gotten the benefit of building up name recognition through those conglomerates in your early years.
Yeah, I mean, look at Tucker Carlson. Like, he's
Yeah.
doing so well. And I mean, TV is great, but alternative media is so much bigger.
Yeah, and
So.
it's just, but a lot of people, they crave what they consider perceived legitimacy from those mainstream sources. So I think that's a problem with it. But I would watch that show canceled on some
Yeah,
network.
put all the canceled people, and we can rotate each season with who's been canceled next. Yeah,
be great. All right, guys. By the way, sad news. Matt Walsh has released his statement on why he won't be on Dancing with the Stars. He said, this is his official statement from @MattWalshBlog. He says, there have been claims in the media that I'm dropping out of Dancing with the Stars in support of the Hollywood writers' strike. This is false. I would never support Hollywood writers in anything. I signed up for the show because I want to dance. I love to dance. I need to dance. And to dance I shall. Pay no attention to these erroneous and defamatory reports. I really wonder, do you think Matt Walsh dances in private?
Oh,
He
for
loves
sure.
dancing.
Like, do you
Yeah.
think
It's
like
his
there's
passion.
there's B-roll footage of like him right before he's about to make some video?
He's
like,
doing a foxtrot.
Like right before they're about to record segments for What Is a Woman, he's like dancing with the people.
He's doing a Viennese waltz. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is because the actual guy, Matt Walsh, who he was mistaken for on
This
Dancing
guy
with the
from
Stars,
Veep.
Yeah.
has
Yes, from
stepped
Veep.
down to support the strike.
Yeah, he's got to support
picketing.
the strikes. And speaking of the strikes, no deal in sight. It made Mary very happy to see this earlier. Apparently,
Good
this
job,
was
guys.
Keep
it up.
misreported. A guy named David Faber was the one who basically said that they were close to an agreement, and then that was basically later said that they couldn't confirm that from anyone. So they're in their 3rd consecutive day of negotiations, and right now we've got David Zaslav, Bob Iger, Ted Sarandos, all these heads of studios all getting together, and apparently like they took the negotiations, they took all of the requests from the actor, or I'm sorry, from the Writers Guild, and then they made their one offer back and said you should be happy with it, and then said nothing more. Apparently,
Well, here's the problem with the strike. Isn't Fran Drescher in charge? She's like the main person negotiating.
no, this is the writers. She's the
She's the
head of
actress.
the
Because I was going to
actors,
say,
yeah.
like, having Fran Drescher from The Nanny being your end-all be-all is probably not going to get you a great
they're like
outcome.
laughing because they
Yeah.
can't get over her voice. They're
Yeah, it's like having Fran Drescher negotiate for you guys, probably not the best case.
yes,
No.
and they're struggling, and it's weird because I've talked to a couple of actors recently. Like I got to talk to Kevin Sorbo, and I got to talk to a couple of others who they have a different perspective on it, because plenty of them, they have no love lost for Hollywood right now. But they have been supported by these unions in the past. Now they pointed out the other day, said like, where was the union when Gina Carano got just obliterated from Disney Star Wars, right? Like, where was the union when they could actually come out and stick up for some of these people? But that's because everyone in these unions still ends up falling into the same ideological category as others. But I think it's hard for them to just cut bait from that when a lot of them are still working union projects. It's difficult, but they're struggling to get by right now. There's this thing about evictions and utility shutoffs going on for people who are working blue collar Hollywood, meaning like your gaffers, your lighting techs. A lot of them are like finding they have to get second jobs and all this other stuff. And there's actually some really creative stories in here about how some of these people are like making a living right now. Like, like in 10 years, we're going to have some guy who's going to start some massive company because he's like, well,
Right.
it's crazy. When I was younger, I was working as a gaffer in Hollywood, and I started making snow globes with a 3D printing machine. In 10 years, we're going to have snow globe ink.
So is that what this guy is doing?
Yes,
Just making
yeah.
snow globes?
Yeah, he's making
That's
snow globes.
sick.
But I'm
Someone
saying
said we've become handyman. My neighbor needed help with his jacuzzi, so we powered that up for him. Somebody else bought a trailer with a saw and is cutting people's firewood.
Yeah.
All right.
That's kind of base.
Well, aren't there people now who really like on the low, they want to come back to work and they're kind of like, oh my God, how much longer is the strike going to go? But they're being, held hostage by the rest of the people.
They want to work.
Yeah.
Well,
We've got
that
a
was
super chat
That's what Bill
from
Maher was saying too. Yeah.
Ryan Moretti said, first super chat to you guys. Been watching on Timcast for a few months. Brett, like the Minnesota hats, have you seen the crime spreading to Minnetonka? All hail the Met Council?
Yeah, like I believe that. I mean, the problem is like Minnetonka is a suburb in Minnesota. Like there's these very, very nice suburbs that like outlie the Twin Cities. So you've got like your Eden Prairies, your Edinas, your Minnetonkas. If the crime is spreading outwards, I mean, it's not hard to believe. We were actually talking before we went on air. I mentioned that like, look, I was in Minnesota during the George Floyd riots, and it's not exactly an open secret that the Minneapolis police they're awful. They were always awful. They were always, and we're not talking about that incident now. I'm just saying that there was plenty of bad blood and bad behavior on both sides, both from criminals that got away with a lot of stuff and from police officers who didn't exactly stay within the bounds of their behavior. And it's not hard to believe with the policies that they've put into effect down there. I've talked about how in Uptown, which is where a big amount of these protests were circled, because that's a very, very leftist area down there. It's the arts district. It's all this stuff. And there would be graffiti on all these people's buildings, right? Like these people they're small businesses. If you're in Uptown, you're up on this main street. These are small businesses run by people who are very passionate about their work, and they're getting their windows smashed out. They're being covered in graffiti. So there would be graffiti written all over the front of these people's buildings, and then the city would come through 24 hours later and say, you have exactly 1 week to cover this up, or we're going to cover it up for you and charge you $1,000. You get what you vote for. This is you're voting for people that will not allow the police to do their job, and you're voting for politicians who would enact this type of policy on small business owners. I don't have much sympathy.
Well, that's why we're seeing people defect, I think, from the Democratic Party. I mean, more and more people are becoming independents, conservatives, Republicans, because these Democrat-run cities like Chicago, New York, LA, it's like robbing, looting, burning. And I saw it in New York for years. I mean, they destroyed businesses in my neighborhood in New York. I lived a few blocks from Union Square. We saw what happened recently with the guy from the streaming doing the giveaway of the PlayStation. Like, it's just lawlessness.
Was that anywhere near you?
Yeah, that
Crisis Party!
Thank you. Sorry.
It's party time.
Yes.
So I'm still not sure what that means, but it sounds exciting. What's going on?
Crisis Party went through, and it's hold on. They're saying, is it broken again? No, it is not broken again.
Nothing's wrong. It's okay.
No, it's working. If it wasn't working, you wouldn't have gotten the Crisis Party. We're good.
So you were saying you were near that like riot?
No, not when that was happening. But this was a few weeks ago in New York, and I lived at like 8th Street and Broadway, and this was happening at 14th Street in Union Square, and it's like they destroyed Ubers, they destroyed taxi cabs, they destroyed hot dog stands, and I'm like, you guys are destroying small businesses, and these people support their families, driving for Uber, driving a taxi cab, doing the hot dog stand, the halal stand, and it's like the cops, they're so scared to use real force or do anything to stop it, because also they're taking their orders from high up, but they don't want to get canceled, right? So there are great cops out there, but they're scared to do anything because they're going to end up on the news. And so just seeing what's happening in New York, Chicago, it's really out of control.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like a lot of people would talk back in the day about how, when cell phones got cameras originally, it would hold cops accountable, and that's great in theory, right? The problem is, like, one of the number one things, like, whenever people would post videos about this stuff, I would always say, be wary of a couple of things. Be wary of where the video starts. Be wary of where the video ends. Look for cuts. People who are not out for truth, justice, in the American way are more than happy to manipulate video, both pro-law enforcement and anti-law enforcement, to get their way and to project a message they want to portray.
Well, it's almost like that's a whole new trend in general online, where people just want to record and catch you in a moment to go viral. I mean, I was talking about this a few weeks ago. Did you guys see where non-binary people, they were going to like Popeyes and fast food chains, and they were like waiting to be misgendered? Like they would get their their fried chicken, and the person would be like, here's your food, sir, here's your food, ma'am, because they look like a sir, they look like a ma'am. They're like recording, ready to go, and they go nuts. They go bananas.
It's like the guy at games, it's ma'am. Remember that there was, it's spam.
Right. And it's like these people, they're working all day 40 hours a week, maybe overtime, trying to pay their bills. We're dealing with Bidenomics and inflation, okay? They're working at Popeyes. Why are you coming in here trying to make a viral moment? Can't you just respect that, hey, you look like a she, walk like a she, talk like a she. Can't you just take your food and sit down? Can't you take your fried chicken and go sit down? Not everything has to be a social justice moment.
Nor does it have to nor does everything have to be about you, that person. That's absolutely true. But you know who wouldn't allow Bidenomics if they got elected was Carrie Lake, who has this video went viral.
Someone deep faked Carrie Lake into Wonder Woman.
I'm scared.
I'm muting the audio.
Yeah, because we're gonna get copyright.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. Remember when we got some pushback for calling 81 million votes my ass cringy? Well, you know, the cringe doesn't stop, guys. Here we go. Let's watch this video. Guys, I'm sorry.
No words.
So she responded
Carrie
to this
Lake
and
is-
she said, I always wondered what I would look like with long hair.
She's a joker.
Carrie Lake is a very pretty woman, but she's not just. And then Linda Carter.
Linda Carter went ahead and responded to this, who played Wonder Woman, and said, Wonder Woman represents kindness, empathy, and the pursuit of truth and justice. It is a delusion to believe Carrie Lake could fill those boots unless she's just dropping by a Spirit Halloween store.
to
It's
be
not
fair-
that serious at
to
all.
be fair,
It's not that
Not
serious.
that serious at all, Linda.
that
Love you,
response
but-
is cringe too. It's cringe on all
Linda
sides.
out-cringed the video, which
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
like
think was possible.
The cringe Olympics.
I do like
is this
that-
what's happening when the writers are on strike?
Yes.
This is what we're left with.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like that Linda, who was on the show here from Mostly Peaceful Latinas, responded and says, "You make me hate my name, 304."
Oh my God. No, but whoever put that together, that's incredible. People are getting creative during the strike, so shout out to them.
That was just look, the 81 million votes my ass song was super cringe. I don't
Did you
care
hear
what
that
anyone
song?
says.
No, I have no idea what this is. I
Carrie
can
Lake-
imagine what it's like. I've run into Carrie a few times recently.
Yeah, Carrie Lake, she was featured on a song that's sort of like country rap, like I don't
Okay.
really know how to explain what genre
Is this like
that
when Marjorie
was.
Taylor Greene was on that song and it was like MTG Maga's MVP? Is it similar to that?
MTG
Have y'all
was
heard
on a
that
song?
Yes, you haven't heard
What
the
was that
MTG song. Pull that up on YouTube.
Look, there's
I guess I'm uncultured. I
there's
haven't heard that song.
like whenever they and I'm not just talking about conservatives. I'm saying whenever like overtly political people try to enter the cultural space,
Yeah.
it's always cringy.
I'm like getting an allergic
Yeah.
reaction from it.
Unless they have a good social media manager, like a real gay intern or something. Other than that, it's bad. It's bad for these politicians.
Like Trump is the only one who's ever managed to actually be funny online when most politicians just aren't all that funny online.
Well, they took a long time to lean into the dark Brandon meme with
Yeah,
Biden.
Right.
They should have
and
done that right away.
Then
Yeah.
it fell flat, but they should have been right on that.
I still don't even know what Dark Brandon is, and I just don't care to find out at this point. Like, I'm fine not knowing.
So, you know, Carrie, like, you're great, but just if she better not show up to any events wearing that. Just no.
No, that's her Halloween costume. She's coming up in a few weeks.
As
Carrie Lake's
MAGA
going.
woman.
Yeah,
As
she's going as
MAGA
that.
woman.
Mark my words. That is what Carrie Lake is going at for Halloween, October 31st.
All right. All right. Cute of the day or cringe of the day? What would you like to see
You
first?
forgot Paw Patrol.
Oh, I don't even have that pulled up here. I don't, like, do you want to get and tell everyone what it was?
Here,
There's
let
a
me send it to
non-binary
you.
character added to Paw Patrol, the children's show.
Yeah,
this isn't my podcast, but I'm just taking reins.
They made a spin-off of Paw Patrol in a show called Rubble and Crew, and it's about a little bulldog, and they meet a human who is a skateboarder, And it's the first non-binary character in the extended Paw Patrol connected universe, apparently. You can tell because if you zoom in on this character River's socks and shoes, they're blue, white, and pink, which stand for the trans flag, the trans pride flag. And then they said Linz Amer is the one who wrote this character into the show. And they had a non-binary voice actor also voice River. Here's the caption. If you, I can't, it's officially out in the world, and that means I can talk about it. I got to write an episode of Rubble and Crew. They brought me on to consult on the first non-binary character for the Paw Patrol universe and talk about a bucket list item. I wanted to write a non-binary character that was aspirational and incredibly cool. Someone for the pups and kids at home to look up to. I'm so happy about how it turned out. Yeah, and this is also the host of Queer Kids Stuff on YouTube, if you didn't know, and the author of a children's picture book called What Are Your Pronouns Today? Hooray for she, he, ze, and they.
Just remember, if you actually want to think about something really depressing, the culture war was lost like 20 years ago, if not longer.
They got to the kids.
They have encompassed all aspects of society on all sides. Remember, queer has nothing to do with being gay or anything. It's an ideology. It's a political stance. It's got nothing to do with who you choose to sleep with. And as we know, there are plenty of people who are gay or even trans that don't agree with the ideology that's being espoused on the internet.
A majority of LGBT people are common sense and don't buy into all the tomfoolery and the nonsense going on. But it's like any minority group, you're going to have a few who screw it up for everybody else, and then you all get lumped in. Yep. And it's like I've had people within my own community, and I use the word community loosely because it doesn't feel that way, but I'll say, hey, don't think we should have biological men on women's sports team. I get crucified by gays in New York who don't want to talk to me anymore. It's like, you guys, this used to be widely accepted by 99.9% of everybody. We never even used to have this debate. But now you get canceled for having a common sense point of view because the Democratic Party went so far left.
Yep, it's crazy.
But also, I think the underlying theme for today is Hollywood is in the gutter because they're doing spin-offs of Paw Patrol with a non-binary character. So Hollywood is really...
Is it strike compliant, though?
Yes. Is it really?
Are you... This woman is promoting her work right now.
Well, I think
she's breaking the picket line.
As long as the non-binary Paw Patrol character isn't on Dancing with the Stars.
That must be it. That must be it.
Yeah.
Well, also, no, like, if there's any, like, if you're part of that lobby, that's the only ones who might scare the union. Like, literally, like, I've watched the union tear down everybody, but there is no group that is more likely to be able to get a group to bend to their will than that part of Hollywood right now.
So I didn't see any comments like that.
I didn't even know there are that many writers in Hollywood because all the new shows are so terrible, no offense, but I never see any great new shows coming out. And so I'm like, it takes 20 people to write this show and it's still this
all the
bad?
Great ones are still around. It's just there's so few of them in comparison to how much content is being produced.
Right, and you know Paw Patrol is probably pulling in higher ratings and viewership than anything on TV.
It probably is, yeah.
There are probably a billion kids each day watching Paw Patrol, so shout out to them.
Yep.
Paw Patrol uncanceled itself.
Right.
Well, no, Paw Patrol got canceled during George Floyd because it was
valorizing cop.
Like, I kid you not. No, and like the day after, this is the funniest story. The day after that happened, I was like on my way back from the grocery store, and I see like a thing of Paw Patrol like toys just crushed in a parking lot, and I have like, I don't know if it had anything to do with that, but there was just like, I just started laughing.
Paw Patrol toys with baseball bats.
I just started laughing uncontrollably. For all we know, somebody just like, they fell out of someone's car and got crushed. But I like the idea that in the middle of rioting, somebody found them and just started bashing the Paw Patrol toys with a bat. Right? All right, cute or cringe?
Let's start with cute.
Cute? All right. We got a couple of them here today, ladies and gentlemen. Also, remember, if you are going to submit them, hashtag PCCPets, hashtag cute of the day. Tag me in it on Twitter. Here we go. First things first. This is from Opie. Let's go here. This is from Opie. Says, good morning/afternoon, everyone. Here's some cute of the day. Our precious bean, Bella. She is patiently waiting for her moment to snag a yummy squirrel. What a photogenic mama.
Do dogs bring home squirrels like cats do?
Apparently,
yeah, they might.
It's like a prize.
It's a very cute dog.
Cute Bella.
Shout out to you, cute
very
dog.
regal. All right.
Is it on Paw Patrol?
Is it yes? Is it non-binary? Is it non-binary or is it in law enforcement?
Is it a
I actually
non-binary
think, you guys, I actually think not to be like all Rainbow Brigade, but I think my family has a non-binary dog because it's a he. My mom calls it she, he, whatever.
Oh.
And I'm like, I think you're indoctrinating the dog to be non-binary, to be honest.
Well, we all know. It's like when there's a
Sinister.
vegan cat, we know who's responsible.
Right.
All right, here we go. We got one more here. This is from Julia on Twitter. Says, here's my twin sisters, calico cats, Lily and Bella. So 2 Bellas today. 10 years after adopting them, I had identical twin boys of my own. They were so sweet during my pregnancy and kept me company while I was sick.
Twin cats and twin babies.
I used to have
That's
a
cute.
calico. Rest in peace.
Very cute.
Aw,
Those are some adorable. Oh,
so cute.
that is very cute. All right. Now that we've usually we should do cringe first, so then you can then palate cleanse with the cute. But today we're doing cringe second. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Is
Mary
Cringe-
found this one.
Is Cringe going to be a producer hitting the deer with the car?
That would
We do have the dash cam footage.
That would have been hilarious. Here we go. Oh my gosh.
I feel so bad.
This is she's old. Give her a break. Give her a break. She's old. It's not her fault. It's not her
I do
fault.
feel bad. I do feel bad, but the caption says this is every senator, every U.S. senator.
Oh yeah.
God.
I mean that's absolutely
Diane
true.
Mitch
Feinstein.
McConnell is at McDonald's trying to order on the mobile app.
My,
No,
my
100%.
favorite meme from the Babylon Bee recently. It says like this McDonald's line should go quickly. There's only 2 cars. Says the world's stupidest person. Because that's pretty much the way it is. So all right, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Now that we are 43 minutes into it, let's go ahead and get
jump right
started.
in.
Let's get jumping right into it. There has been a new petition going out by a bunch of Hollywood celebrities who are protesting book bans here in America. As far as they're concerned, we're returning to a fascist state because they don't want to,
Yes.
because we don't want them to put graphic novels full of very, very sexual acts being depicted to children in libraries in public schools.
Right. I didn't know what this was referring to at first, so I thought, wow, there are big celebrities getting behind an anti-censorship open
And
letter.
To which I say, my goodness, Mary, you are so innocent.
Yeah, but it's actually just so that we can keep pornography and grooming material in public school libraries. And all the usual suspects are on this open letter. There's over 175 people. It includes Alyssa Milano, Andy Cohen, Ariana Grande.
We get a $20 one there from the Ninja from Pop Culture Planet.
Let me see here. It says...
Did they send one earlier?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. We do not approve this pop culture move. Leave human children alone.
Agreed.
We're trying to.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just these celebrities don't want us to.
No.
Bill Nye is on this. Billy Porter, Chelsea Handler, Emma Roberts. I
all
guess
the ones
she's trying to beat the transphobic allegations.
Oh, did you see the thing yesterday? It's kind of an aside where they were talking about how she and Angelica Ross like bonded on the set of American Horror Story because there was apparently crew members wearing "Build the Wall" and "I Do Not Kneel" shirts. To which I
okay.
say, I don't buy that for a single
I have
second.
not heard about this. I
Yeah.
have no idea. All I heard about was the Emma Roberts, Angelica Ross trans controversy
Yeah.
where she made some comments to Angelica Ross, and then
Yes.
instead of addressing it with Emma Roberts personally,
She made it public.
Yeah, you went on the internet.
But I did see people talking about racist T-shirts on the American Horror Story set.
Apparently they were "Build the Wall"
That's
shirts.
what they were talking
I don't
about?
know if I don't think there's anything less believable in the world than
that.
some Hollywood like some dude who could get fired because he's not considered like critical to wear a shirt like that in Hollywood. I don't buy
Yeah,
it.
that's hard to believe.
Yep.
Mark Ruffalo is on this. Ron Perlman, of course. Sarah Paulson.
So it says
American
the
Horror
letter
Story.
coincides with the National Banned Book Month and corresponds with a movement by Republican-led governments and conservative groups to ban books in schools, particularly those related to LGBTQ issues or race. If you go through this list of books, it's nothing to do. It's less to do with LGBTQ issues, more to do with actual graphic imagery.
Well, I
Right.
also find this so rich coming from celebrities because most celebrities, actors, actresses, pop singers, they haven't even graduated like second grade. I mean, they can't even spell mom backwards. So I don't know what they're doing talking about any books in any libraries
actually
anywhere.
true.
You know what I'm saying?
Actually, I disagree with that. Like singers, that's sometimes true. A lot of these celebrities, they end up going to elitist schools.
Oh, okay.
That's like a lot of them graduate from elite acting programs at elite.
I guess I'm just
left-wing
looking at the child
Yeah.
stars and I'm thinking,
Yeah, they
okay,
would be-
they weren't
yeah.
getting the best education on the set of whatever Nickelodeon show.
Or like Beyonce, she dropped out of school in 7th grade.
Yeah,
Right.
but a lot. They said the singers might be a
Yeah.
different story, but a lot of the actors they end up in these like fraternal type orders because they did go to the same acting programs at these major universities that have famous drama programs.
like
or they
Lupita
study-
Nyong'o and people like
yes.
that. Yeah.
So whether it's Tish, whether it's the Royal Academy School for Drama, whatever, all of these different programs, it's the same type of college programming. It's just done for the arts rather than liberal science and
Right.
stuff like that.
Is there a list of the books?
The-
I didn't see a list of the books. It just has this letter. It says, as artists, creators, entertainers, and activists, we recognize and are horrified by the threat of censorship in the form of book bans. This restrictive behavior is not just antithetical to free speech and expression, like as if any of these people care about values of free speech and free expression in the first place. It has a chilling effect on the broader creative field.
I have the 10 most commonly banned books here in America pulled up. This is from CBS News.
Okay.
Genderqueer. I'm going to put the list on screen here so everyone can see. So it's Genderqueer, a memoir. That's been a very big talking point, that one. Lawn Boy by John Levinson. It says a 2018 novel by Jonathan Evison, sorry, not Levison, is about a young gay man who works in landscaping as a so-called lawn boy. In 2021, Lawn Boy and Genderqueer were removed from high school libraries, though later returned. In Virginia, Fairfax County Public Schools, complaints about the book's depictions of sex. You will see that word a lot. Depictions,
Right.
it's not just about what they're saying, it's about the actual imagery. All Boys Aren't Blue, a memoir manifesto. It says All Boys Aren't Blue is a writer, LGBTQ activist, George M. Johnson's young adult memoir. It's a series of essays about Johnson's growing up black and queer. Per the American Library Association, it was banned and challenged after complaints about its LGBTQ themes and content considered to be sexually explicit. Again, like if it's just a book that's talking about, like I don't begrudge putting somebody's memoir in there, but if we're talking about
Right.
actual imagery, if we're talking about graphic depictions in
sure.
literature, that's you want to put that in a Barnes and Noble, fine. If you want to restrict it at a high school to people who are of age, I don't know how I necessarily even feel about that. I just know that what they're doing is they're conflating banning it outright in the country and banning it at schools, which are publicly funded and are populated by minors.
And I also feel like we should take the cues from the parents. I feel like a lot of parents feel like their kids' education is being taken away from them and they want to be in control. And if the parents are coming together and saying, we're not comfortable with this or what's being taught to our kids, shouldn't you listen to the parents because they know what's best for their children? I mean, just
They don't believe that, though. They believe they know what's best
No,
for
they
your
think they
kids.
know what's best because they're with the kids 8 hours a day. And there's so many incredible teachers, and I hate to lump them in with the ones who are terrible. But if all the parents are saying, we're not cool with this, we don't want this, why don't we listen to the parents? Because it's their children.
Because they believe that they know better
It's
than their
people
children.
who don't have kids who want to reproduce by indoctrination rather than and having kids of their own. And that's like the author I just mentioned who posts queer kid stuff. This isn't a parent. Where does their passion for influencing children come from?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. What you just said is so true because even if you see on social media, the people who are most outraged by this, outraged by the book bans, and they want all of this. You see the teachers who have like 50 different types of pride flags up in their classroom, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know there were that many. None of them have kids. You look online, it's like they don't have any kids. So why don't we listen to the people whose kids are in the actual classroom? Doesn't seem like rocket science.
They don't think that parents have a right to like privacy with their kids either.
They also say, there's some schools now. I saw in New Mexico, there was a survey in some other states where if your kid wants to seek, gender affirming counseling without the parent's knowledge, they can check a box and sign off on this. And it's like, if your kid's going to school and your teachers are talking to them about changing their gender, going on hormones and all this, the parent has a right to know. You should be outraged. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But there are people who think the parents don't have a right. Their kids have a right to privacy. No, the parents should know what's going on with their children.
And at the end of the day, the problem with this is that they're using the celebrities, to pull it back here, as a cudgel, as a weapon, because look, celebrities carry tremendous influence in the public, and they're either taking advantage of those celebrities' lack of understanding of the subject, or they're outright bias, partisanship.
I mean,
in these
Right.
I
issues.
think some of the celebrities on that list did consciously make the decision
yeah.
to sign
Mark
it.
Ruffalo
but
did, for
other
sure.
ones, I see their name on it, and I think if you asked them about this open letter, they'd be like, "What open letter?"
Right.
Because they just tell their PR and
To
their
sign it.
management, put my name on whatever you think will make me look good.
Yeah.
They don't actually have principles.
And if you guys were wondering what books are actually banned on Amazon, I've got a list of those here too. When Harry Became Sally, responding to the transgender movement by Ryan T. Anderson. Capitalism on a Ventilator, the impact of COVID-19 in China and the U.S. Fascist Voices, Essays from the Fascist Quarterly, 1936 to 1940. So that would just be history, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's just a reprint?
And also Mein Kampf, which
Yep.
is in Barnes & Noble, but not on Amazon.
Yes, the first Holocaust, Jewish fundraising campaigns with Holocaust claims during and after World War I, and the hoax of the 20th century, the case against the presumed extermination of European Jewry. So there's that was the list of 6 books that are banned on Amazon. I don't know if there's others or there's more. I did look up the first 2 and I was not able to find them on Amazon. I don't know if maybe there's another way to do that or if there's another way to find them. And obviously different publishers or different stores might have different standards for what they consider unsellable.
For sure.
Unsaleable, right? But at the end of the day, I don't think the celebrities care. I think that they just want the cachet that comes from this.
Yeah, and I feel like the woke mob, honestly, when it comes to diversity and things like this, they love diversity as long as you go along 100% with what they have to say. So they're not really into diversity of thought or anything like that. They're down for like 50 different genders, 50 different pronouns, all these things. But if you go against them or say, hey, I don't think that's actually cool, I don't think that's appropriate for kids, they will cancel you, dox you, come for you. So they're really not about diversity as much as they preach.
I would be interested to go to some of these celebrities and be like, well, what do you think about these books that are banned on Amazon? These ones aren't even available for purchase. Like, how much free speech do you actually support? Because for a lot of them, it just stops, right? It's like it fall in line behind the ideology. And then after that, it's like, it's not about free speech, it's about my free speech. It's like when they say democracy, they don't say democracy, they say our democracy, which they actually do mean theirs. They don't mean you. They actually mean ours, as in the people who agree with us. And celebrities have just become very, very easy, useful idiots for a lot of these causes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there?
I think they know the earlier they get to kids, the more powerful their ideologies are.
Well, that's
And
why
I
they want
don't
them in
think-
TV shows. That's why they want it in the television shows.
Obviously, all of us here oppose graphic depictions that are like hypersexual being
Right.
in any material available to kids in libraries at publicly funded schools. Yes. But I think even just the introduction of the ideas in queer ideology, even without graphic depictions of sex or anything like that, it's still a sinister ploy to get to them, because the sooner you normalize these ideas to them, then the easier it is to keep them.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
I definitely feel like when kids get to a certain age, they're going to hear about things online. They're going to see it on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram. And so they should be able to come to an adult and ask those questions. Hey, what is this? Or I heard about this. But then there are those teachers out there who tell their students over and over and over, like, hey, you might have been born in the wrong body. And so you have a kid sitting there who's never heard that before. He doesn't know. And then the teacher I saw online, one teacher was saying, you know, gender's a lifelong journey. I wouldn't want my kid being told that they could be born in the wrong body or gender's a lifelong journey.
Wait, is that like to say, like, you could feel like you're in the right body now, but 20 years from now, you
Change
might
it.
not?
Yeah.
Like, Mark Ruffalo says you can change your gender whenever. Don't you love the Hulk? Don't you love Marvel? Mark Ruffalo says you can be whatever gender you want. So you can go
or
ahead
whatever
and do that.
species you want.
Yes, exactly. Hulk smash your
Yeah.
gender identity.
Right.
That's,
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
A lot
and
of
it's
people say
nefarious.
like the solution to this is that everyone needs to start homeschooling,
But it's hard
but
because
it's not
parents...
viable for everyone.
Because a lot of these parents, because of inflation, because of the economy, they're parents who've had to take on extra
Right.
jobs. So then who's going to monitor the kids? And then during lockdown, the reason the kids fell so behind is because the remote learning wasn't up to par. And some
Right.
kids were like, you had 10 kids sharing one laptop. So how are they supposed to do the remote learning?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like, I feel actually bad for like the kids that I was talking to a friend of mine who is a teacher in Minnesota, and he's talking about how like now they don't even get snow days anymore because like when there's a
They
snow
used to
day,
go on Zoom.
they just have to go on Zoom. I was like, that's sad. I'm glad I didn't grow up in that time period.
Right.
I got actual snow days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw someone else say like sometimes for kids from bad homes, the only consistent and sensible adults in their lives could be their teachers.
Also, their meals, consistent meals as well.
Yeah.
That's always been a big one, right?
Yeah.
Is that like they weren't getting fed entirely unless they were actually at school, and that was a big part of it. Right?
Yeah. So aside from like a lot of parents, just homeschooling isn't a viable option for them.
And domestic abuse also skyrocketed during the pandemic. I mean, you had
Alcohol
kids at
and
home,
drug
right?
addiction,
For sure.
Yeah, like okay, so I like during COVID, I was working at an apartment complex doing maintenance, and the amount of liquor bottles you saw outside
Increased.
just doubled
Yeah.
and tripled, and the amount of domestic violence calls, or at least police response calls, also went through the roof
Right.
because your people were just not used to not having those 8 hours that they spent apart
Right.
every day.
No,
right?
like that's what everyone was going out to buy at the beginning of the pandemic: toilet paper and alcohol. That's what they were stockpiling in the beginning of the pandemic.
Well, I mean,
says a lot about us.
It's
Right.
well, it also like it does prove that it was never about like when they were talking about was like Walmart is considered what was the term that they were always using for it? All the other stores were closed down, and Walmart was allowed to be open because it was considered essential,
necessary, yeah,
essential, right?
essential.
Well, why did liquor stores get to stay open? Because they
essential
didn't
for
want
them.
half the country to go through withdrawal. That's why. But so they had to pretend like it's essential when realistically it's literally like it was essential because otherwise people were going to be in rough shape really, really fast.
Right.
What was the beef that Abigail Disney had with like the company, with like the Walt Disney Company?
I mean, she's famously
wasn't
had
she
lots
saying
of problems.
stuff about?
Was she the protester who like tied herself up in the Hamptons at the airport, or is this somebody else?
That might have been her. Like
I think you mentioned something about her talking about how Disney is like going off the rails from Walt Disney's vision.
She's also kind of like I don't want to comment on it without remembering exactly.
But
she's famously has a lot of problems. back and
Abigail, if
forth.
you're out
Yeah.
there, call in.
But then she signed on this letter too, so I don't really know what she stands for.
Yeah.
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 Well, I don't think a lot of celebrities know what they stand for. I think they go what their PR teams, management, and the people around them tell them they stand for.
And Gabrielle Union has a trans kid, right?
Yes.
That's telling. She's on this
Well, there are a
list
lot of
as well.
celebrities who, I think Charlize Theron, didn't she adopt 2 boys
Yes.
from Africa, and then now they're both little girls?
Yes.
I could be mistaken.
Yes, and people have talked about this with Megan Fox's children. Robbie Starbuck said that he used to literally be essentially like a next door neighbor with Megan Fox in
wow.
California, and that he was watching his kids at the playground with her kids and their nanny, and they were crying about how they have to be forced to wear girl clothes.
Wow.
And they weren't comfortable with it. Megan Fox completely denied this ever happened. Not like she would know, because they were being taken care of by a nanny anyway. But this is super common in Hollywood, and I think Madonna's kids seems to be a similar situation as well.
Megan Fox was in the Expendables 4 last night, and it was a very interesting
She was?
feeling to
Oh.
see
Good for her.
somebody
She's working.
to see somebody who's both simultaneously unbelievably ridiculously hot, but simultaneously unbelievably underwhelming in every other respect. You're watching her and you're like,
It's her whole complex about herself. Like, I swear I'm interesting.
I'm watching her and I'm like, it's literally the at least she looks good thing, right?
Right.
Like it's
That's what we
yeah.
were saying. Like, if they cast hot women in the Ghostbusters 2016 reboot.
Oh, in the chat, John Odom, I have no idea what he's talking about, but he says to experience normalcy for 8 hours a day. I guess they're talking about going to work. I want to bring back the word normality, so I just want to encourage everybody
Okay.
to go back to say normality. It's cooler than normalcy. I'm just saying.
Let's go through our super chats.
Let's go through some of them, right?
Shane H. Wilder said, my hatred of ads on streaming is that they never hit where a normal ad break would be and kill the vibes. I'm over here trying to watch John Reese shoot an MFer in the knee, and it cuts a damned ad.
Yeah, like that's the girl. Like, because back in the day, television shows were actually designed
Yeah,
around
when
the
the
ad
scene
breaks,
ended,
right? Like one of my favorite things that I would point out is like if you watch old television before they really figured out how to keep you engaged, like a lot of old X-Files episodes, they'd fade to black on commercial break, and you just don't see that a whole lot nowadays
Right.
because they know how to keep you engaged in what you're watching
One of the shows-
right up to the end.
One of the shows that was great about that was Lost. Did you guys ever watch Lost?
Yes.
They were always so good with the cliffhangers
Yeah.
on Lost and when to go to commercial and when to end the episode and boom, the episode's over. So Lost was incredible. But yeah, I think a lot of shows like on Netflix and all the streaming, they don't really even have to factor in commercials. So
No, but back in the day, like I'm still programmed to watch shows as if they still got the commercial
Right.
breaks even in there, even if I don't watch the actual commercial
Right.
breaks because I'm watching
like, when am I going to go to the bathroom and refill my drink? You know, check my phone.
There aren't any shows worth binge watching now.
Twisted Metal. Go watch Twisted Metal. I enjoyed Twisted Metal. That's the only show I binged this year.
I've been watching The Americans. Did you guys see The
Love
Americans?
The Americans.
Yeah, I love The
I haven't.
Americans.
That's, I mean, Carrie Russell's fantastic.
Yeah, Carrie
in that.
Russell,
Her and
Matthew Rhys.
Matthew Rhys are
Chef's kiss.
both, who are married in real life.
I know.
Yeah.
They fell in love on the set. That's why the chemistry seems so real.
Yeah, they did something very risky in that show, which is they essentially reenacted the one of the closing scenes to the pilot of Miami Vice to the same Phil Collins song to In the Air Tonight at the end of the pilot.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, like it's almost done in exactly the same way as they did on Miami Vice.
Wow.
And it's really, really good. But that show, Noah, what's his name? Noah
Emmerich.
He's super good too.
Yeah,
he's a
incredible.
stage actor. He's really, really good.
Also in The Truman Show. Right.
Yeah, that's that's one of those shows. There's something really interesting about that show. Is that the guy who created it, and I don't remember his name. I love those first 3 seasons of that show. I kind of fell off after that.
Yeah.
But the guy who created that show, he was best friends or like really good friends with the guy who runs FX, and essentially was told by the guy from FX, he's like, "I'll let you finish the show, even though the ratings would have gotten the show canceled on any other network."
The Americans?
Yes, the ratings weren't that great for it,
no.
but the guy who ran the network was like, "Look, like you're my bro, so I guess we'll just
Right.
lose money on your show." But it found more love later on streaming because it's a lot of people would get into it, and it is kind of depressing. Like
It gets slow. It does get a little slow.
It's gray. It's very, very long-winded.
Like, I thought the 80s were fun. From everything I heard about the 80s, the 80s were fun, and they're like miserable all through the 80s. I'm like,
it's almost like the Cold War was a thing,
right?
Like,
But it's also like, we get it. You're Russian spies. Okay, when are we going to get a new storyline? We get it.
yeah.
You know, at this point.
But I do recommend people check that show out, especially if you do like spy dramas.
I think I watched, like, some of the first
Homeland
season.
had some rough seasons in the middle. Similar show about spies out at the same
First
time.
2 seasons. That's
yeah,
all,
first
like-
2 seasons were incredible, and then Homeland went a little.
When you lose the hook of finding out the guy's an American agent turned,
Right.
like you, and then Damian Lewis left the show, and it's like you don't even need it after, like, what's her name is
Claire Danes.
Claire Danes is great, but Damian Lewis was really the selling point for me early on in that show, and Mandy Patinkin. But that he went on to do Billions,
Right.
And again, like most of these shows, it's the same thing. I like the first 2, maybe 3 seasons, but most shows, I would argue, don't need to go past that. They
Right.
don't.
Well, what I loved on Homeland is, remember she was pregnant with his baby, and people are like, "Oh, did she have a baby with the terrorist?" And I'm like, "Yeah, the baby's got orange hair and a British accent." So yeah, she had a baby with Damian Lewis's character. Okay, they're like, "How did this random woman with no romantic prospects, she gives birth to a little ginger cute baby?" Hello.
She is also like a perfect example of, like, they do a really good job of showing you just an absolute mess of a human being who's like also very good at her job. She's
Right.
just she's a disaster.
Big
Right.
super chat from the ninja from Pop Culture Planet. Hey guys, I work 12 to 14-hour days, and you guys occupied 2 hours of my hellish day on the mothership. I came for Tim and stayed for y'all. Been hiding and broke since early, and got a huge what is this? Dilithium?
You know why you're broke? Because you
Bonus?
keep sending in super chats for all this money, sir.
And these
why.
chats are owed for keeping me going bop beep.
Thank you. Thank
All
you so
right.
much, and thank you for watching.
Thank
As you
you.
guys
Thank
know,
you.
that one of my favorite things is hearing that people watch at work. I love
You know,
that.
for sure.
So, but yeah, like that was another one. She was great in that show too.
Yeah.
But a lot of those shows. Did you ever see the show Tyrant?
No.
I recommend checking out a show called Tyrant. It's
Okay.
there was a lot of those kind of political thrillers that came out in that time period, just before Hollywood went down the
Yeah.
drain. There was also a show that I can't find anywhere now called Boss, starring Kelsey Grammer
Okay.
and Kathleen Robinson. He's a corrupt mayor.
Okay.
Very, very good. So.
All right.
Shane H. Wilder said Lizzo getting a humanitarian award for making sure people get their daily dose of potassium. I apologize. I'll get my coat and see myself out. Yeah,
boy.
she was just trying to make sure her
Eat healthy.
dancers were healthy.
Right.
Let's hold off on the rest. We will come back after the fact. Tell us what's going on with Kathy Griffin, because this story's crazy.
Yeah, Kathy Griffin has just baselessly accused Kanye West of being physically and emotionally abusive to his new unofficial wife, Bianca Censori, based solely on what she's been wearing.
Yeah.
I think it is solely based on the way that they're dressing, which is outlandish and attention grabbing, nothing new for Kanye. And you know what's so ironic about this? Thank you.
I do love the idea that somehow a woman dressing outlandish and attention seeking is a guy's fault.
It's okay.
I know plenty of women who aren't under the thumb of any men who dress plenty outlandish.
Kanye is known for rebranding the women he's with and being like making them into his dress up doll. He's into fashion.
Right.
And yeah, he could be controlling. I'm sure it's not the most normal relationship on the planet, but what's so ironic about this is there was just a headline saying Bianca Censori completely brushed off her friends when they came to her with serious concerns about her being in a controlling and abusive relationship. She literally told them to F off and said they were jealous of her fame.
Look,
so she's in this relationship for fame, and she sees the trade-off as
why
worth
else
it.
would you put up with Kanye West? Who wants to hang out with Kanye West? He's a wackadoodle, okay?
Also,
like, there's no reason to be with
I'm sure
him
there
unless
are
it's to
plenty
get
of
some
people
clout.
who want to hang out with Kanye West.
Also,
but
like,
yeah,
are we just like, have we just reached a point where women just don't have agency anymore? Like, they're just not allowed to be adults and make their own decisions, even if they're bad? You're
I
allowed
think
to
there
make
are a
bad
lot
decisions.
of people with an interest in fetishizing female suffering and fetishizing the idea of this domineering male figure who is controlling everything she does.
Let's watch her video. Like, is it just
this
the first?
we gotta watch
this.
the whole video because all of it is insane.
Okay, here we go, guys.
Her hair's looking good.
Oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble for this video. It's gonna be controversial, I'll tell you right now, and I'm probably gonna have like a lot of bros coming at me for it and everything, but it's just
We're the
my
bros.
opinion.
That's
Just
me.
something I've been thinking
I am
about.
bro.
Okay, so we've all seen those photos of Kanye and his new wife, Bianca Censori, right? So I don't need to show you. And it's easy to make fun of Kanye. I mean, I make fun of him in my act because he's like
That's
crazy
racist.
and nutty and does all these things. But when I see those photos where she's in pantyhose and like not even a bandeau top, it's really all about being see-through and stuff. I think, number one, she has a banging body. Like, of course, I would kill for that body, so this isn't about that. But she does have a body that is almost identical to Kim. And
It's almost like having a type.
I was gonna say
think-
he has a type.
just sort of what I'm suggesting, this is just my belief, is this is going to be bad. I actually think that he may be physically abusing her. And at the very least,
We have to stop. I'm sorry. We have to stop. You don't just get to throw that out there.
Right.
Like,
She did that.
That's insane.
And not expect a lawsuit to come your way. Like, that is crazy.
Ugh.
Also, I think maybe
100% I think he's like-
subconsciously Kathy Griffin saw Russell Brand stuff the day before, and maybe her brain was thinking in that like abuse, Me Too vibe, and she kind of conflated all
It's
these
like-
different stories together.
You can Me Too someone on someone's behalf
Right.
now? That's how far we've taken this?
yeah.
Me three. This you're the
Yeah,
third
me
person,
three.
yeah.
Go ahead.
psychologically abusing her. Now, let me tell you why. I've talked about my dead brother, Ken, on this app, who was a physically abusive man toward actually his wife and his girlfriend, who both told me. But
Projection.
one time, his wife told me about a time that he had physically abused her when she was out of the shower. He locked her outside their apartment, and she was totally naked because he wanted to humiliate her in that way. So when I see this woman who has no voice, we have not heard a peep out of her. I've read that she has a master's degree in architecture from a university in Australia. She's gorgeous. She seems to have no voice whatsoever. She's not on social media. I don't know if he's not letting her talk, but I just think that her walking around with him, and he's covered up in practically a freaking burqa. I mean, he's covered up in scarves and clothes. But when they were in Italy, and he had her drop to her knees, what looks like in the photos, and give him a service, and we saw his bare butt, knowing there were paparazzi photographers all the way around and people with just phone cameras, that to me just reeks of abuse. Like, get on your knees and do this now on a freaking water taxi. So it might sound to guys like, oh, that's sexy in a fantasy. It doesn't look like a fantasy for her. And
what is she basing that on?
Nobody even knows what was going on in those photos. And people said that when they watched the video, it was clear nothing was happening.
We are getting closer and closer to just treating women like just large children, like who aren't responsible for their own actions. That's what it feels like they want. Like,
got in trouble in Italy, and she still, walks around with him in pantyhose and always high heels. And you guys,
oh my God, she's wearing high heels.
That's the straw that broke the camel's back. She's wearing high heels.
She must be.
She's too sexy. Stop it now.
Selling this stuff. So there were sort of similar photos with Kim back in the day, and then Kim would be wearing Skims, which
she still sells Skims.
And now she's a billionaire, and that worked. And this does not seem like that. And the photo where she has a pillow in front of her breasts, I don't know if she was like, can I just go out with a freaking pillow or what? But then they went to Germany and they went
Kathy's
to a
done her
show.
research. She has her whole
just
schedule.
like presenting her thesis.
She's got like a timeline.
Exactly.
Sounds silly now, like this like big bird headdress where it looked like she couldn't see, and yet still like practically naked.
If she did, but here's the thing: if she sold these pictures on OnlyFans, it would be empowering. It would be extremely sexy and empowering because she'd be making money from it. But I guess if Kanye West is her husband and is, funding their lifestyle, that's not empowering because she's not doing it. She's not having the money directly deposited into her cash
account
app
by simps.
by them and by a third party company
though,
that makes profit.
Glowing and looks happy in this picture.
She looks
if we
very
can pull
happy.
it up. Yeah.
Yep.
And there's video of them walking down a stairwell going to this fashion show, and he's not holding her hand, he's not helping her. And so
P. Tran in the chat says she's a 28-year-old teenager.
I don't know her, I'm never going to meet her, but I just want to know what you guys think, because it just looks like something a really controlling, abusive dude would do. Okay.
What about a self-assured, sexually adventurous woman who's comfortable in her own body? Is that something sexually adventurous? Completely.
I don't agree with either of these takes. I do think that Bianca having a somewhat transactional relationship with a celebrity and using this public relationship to get fame and money is inherently degrading. But I also believe that it's entirely her choice as an adult woman to do that.
She's
and
a
she
grown-up.
will face the consequences either now or later on.
And
you said there is always the risk that she will later on, after this relationship is over, which it doesn't look to be like it will last very long, Bianca has the option in the post-Me Too era to retroactively reinterpret this relationship and be like, actually, Kanye was controlling me and silencing me and making me wear skimpy outfits and degrading me and blah, blah, blah. And everyone will believe her and applaud her for saying that because Kanye is a public enemy in pop culture right now.
That's my problem with all of these stories is like when you do this job and you're constantly looking up news, you see them right next to each other. You see some story about some 22-year-old woman who's behaving some way, and it's empowering and it's great and it's fantastic.
Right.
And then right under that is the story about the 55-year-old woman who behaved that way when she was in her 20s, and now it was at the behest of evil corporations and men who were looking to take advantage of them and use them for their sexuality. And you just see the cycle repeat itself over and over again because we're past the age of taking responsibility for your own actions. I'm not speaking of crimes. I'm not speaking of somebody who forces you to do something by physical means. I'm saying that people made choices to enter transactional business relationships when they were young. And then when they're older, they have retroactively changed their mind about what that means because they feel differently now. And that's the problem here, is that there is always going to be that risk that when she's 40 years old and she no longer has the physical looks that she had at this time.
Not even. It could be like a year later.
Yeah.
It could be a year from now where Bianca, makes her big debut on the Me Too scene and talks about what was really going on.
Trying to decipher how Bianca feels for me would just be conjecture, but we can almost guarantee that Kim Kardashian is seeing all this and going, thank God I got off of this sinking ship. Don't you know Kim's at home with her kids like, thank God this isn't me, because he would have had her in these horrible outfits too.
But even her, the worst she ever did was before she met him. The sex tape was before she even met him. Like, all of them. It's like, knock, knock, knock. Well, if it isn't the consequences of one's own actions, my goodness. We have to stop treating everybody like children just because they make bad decisions when they're younger. You have to treat everybody like adults and show them the respect of not letting them discount all their bad behavior on another person. It actually means that you are showing somebody more respect and treating them like an adult to hold them responsible for the choices they make. Otherwise, you're just treating them like children.
I would love to hear Julia Fox's response to this, because she famously, she's known for her stint as Kanye's girlfriend, muse, dress-up hag, whatever. And she described the relationship as entirely positive and said that when he, took all of her old clothes away and replaced them with everything that he thought was, acceptable to be seen with him in public, she described that as entirely positive and a creative partnership. Yeah. So where is she to dispel these lies? Yeah. And I don't know
There's no benefit for her to do that
hubris now. and just like the gall for Kathy Griffin to go forward and make allegations of this nature.
That was a whopper of a thing to accuse someone of.
With no disclaimer, like I could be wrong, or with no thought that maybe she could get repercussions for lying about someone this way on a public platform.
I really will come back to what I said about Kathy Griffin. I think she saw all the headlines about Russell Brand and Danny Masterson and everything going on right now, and maybe while she was asleep, she put it all together into one, if that makes sense. So also, in this economy, attention is kind of the hottest commodity right now. So getting attention online, she's probably trying to increase her viewership. She's talking about Kanye West. She's talking about Me Too. She's talking about abuse, all these topics. So this is probably, if we go to Kathy Griffin's TikTok, is this not one of her most viewed videos from the past 20 videos? Let's look. Let's look at the numbers.
Probably.
I can pull that up and see where it sits on that. So if we go to her page, let's go to... So this is 821K. Yes, by far and
highest
away.
viewed video.
So I stand by exactly what I said. So she's jumping in on a trend. This is her biggest video probably ever on the platform. So
this one's got 1.5 million with Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah, so you're hanging out with Dylan Mulvaney and you're like, how can I get attention next?
50K, 40K, you know what I'm saying? 22K. So her on her own talking about this situation is definitely amplifying her on a platform where she's trying to reach younger people, aligning herself with Dylan Mulvaney. Right. There's no way Kathy Griffin really cares to hang out with Dylan Mulvaney, if we're being honest. But she knows Dylan Mulvaney has a lot of followers and a lot of viewers on this platform. So let me invite Dylan over for brunch and take some videos, Yeah,
and funnily enough, most of the comments here are agreeing with Kathy Griffin. He said, I felt this. Bianca looks so unhappy and uncomfortable. You can just tell. He's controlling and abusive.
That is the insane projection that you see when people. It's the also, no, Mary. It's the Johnny Depp thing. It's Johnny Depp giving what's her name her phone cord. Like
so
dude,
people were
nuts.
like looking at Johnny Depp's friendship with his lawyer. Camille Vasquez.
Yeah. He hands her like a cord.
He hands her a phone charger and they're like, he's such a gentleman and they're in love and they're going to get married and they're going to have 10 babies.
People are insane.
People will just project onto what they see, whatever they want to see.
Well, that's what I've noticed even, being on TikTok, because TikTok's my biggest platform. I use TikTok every day. People can just make up their own narrative. They can watch a whole video you did and they'll say, oh, you said this. I can't believe you believe this. So what you're saying
is...
So what you're saying is, and it's like, no, did you actually watch anything that's actually never come out of my mouth at all? And then you say, can you show me where I said that? Well, it's just the vibe I got. So people just project. It's almost like when they project now, they're admitting guilt themselves in some way. Like anytime someone tries to blame you for something or ascribe something onto you, it's who they are deep down. Yeah. It's who they are inside.
Well, it's like when they say like when you read a book, a lot of times what a book tells you more about the author than it does about the characters, right? Because you write what you know, or you write what's important to you.
Like 50 Shades of Grey.
There you go.
But
Speaking of Kanye,
people, it's true. Like if they idolize somebody on the internet and you have your profile picture as Harry Styles, for instance, and your name is like Harry Styles 123 on Twitter, and you tweet something like Harry Styles is kind of annoying, they'll come after you because they're like, you just attacked me.
Yeah.
This is my whole identity. I'm a fan of Harry Styles, and you just said that about me. You think I'm annoying.
I really do feel like trends like this, like what they're talking about with Bianca Censori, it does a disservice to like actual liberal values for women who are strong in their own beliefs, who maybe they are promiscuous, maybe they are sexually adventurous, maybe they do have traits that they want to promote, that they believe in, that they feel strongly about, that other people don't agree with. Fine, but it's their choice to make. And it used to be a thing, especially like in the early 2010s, and we're seeing a lot of this come out now with all of the women who are talking about how Hugh Hefner behaved. Like, those women were not treated like children at the time. They were treated like adults who were able to enter less than normal relationships, abnormal relationships that other people may not consider to be okay or wouldn't want to be a part of, but it was their choice to make. They weren't babied.
Right. It's also like, thank you, Captain Obvious. Hugh Hefner was a womanizer.
Yeah, shocking.
He
right?
lived in the Playboy Mansion and owned Playboy, and he,
But
this isn't shocking.
But women should not be automatically assumed to be less than capable of making their own choices. We should not just look at a woman who's behaving in a way that's different than what you, Kathy Griffin, arbitrarily decide is okay, and say that that's because she's not being allowed to behave in the way she wants to, or that she's being controlled or manipulated. Sure. Wouldn't you actually wait for her to say something about it before you buy that?
Well, I think with Kathy Griffin also, it's like, I used to love Kathy Griffin, and I'm sure if I ran into her, I'd still like her now. I'm sure there are things that are nice about her, but she used to be politically incorrect. She was almost anti-woke in a way, Kathy Griffin, with her old stand-up. She was just saying everything, using words that we're not even allowed to use now. And so to see her rebrand in this light is really interesting. You almost have to wonder, is it a mind virus, or is she doing this because this is the trend and she's like, okay, well, this is what's working on TikTok. This is what we're doing. But does she really believe this, or is it virtue signaling?
I think with the youth, it's the mind virus. I think with the adults, it's worse. It's more calculating.
Right.
I think that it's a choice that they're making to rebrand and fit in. Because we hear all the time about people who say, like, look, I don't believe this stuff. I do it because it's what I have to do to get by. It started as I wasn't allowed to talk about my political beliefs because I wanted to keep my job in Hollywood. And it's escalated from there upwards into this. But it's being, portrayed downward to the kids who don't know any better. In that case, I actually do believe what we call the mind virus is just very, very well done indoctrination. All right, let's go to...
This is enough about Kathy Griffin. Bye, Kathy. We're done with you. Bye. Next.
We've heard enough.
Yeah. Bye, Kathy.
Corey Anderson said, Mary, my stomach hurts. Pray for my bowels.
I guess you have to pray.
All right. Hope you feel better. Istaphobic said, Mary, are you a fan of Big White Monsters as an alternative drink option to seltzers?
I
don't like Monster.
I've never tried it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Corey Anderson said, over under on Lizzo's knees having been turned to dust carrying around all of that weight.
She'll have the best knee surgeons, though. She'll have the best doctors to take care of her.
I have no comment.
She was like fat shaming her dancers because she wanted to be the fattest on stage.
She's like, would you lose some weight already?
She's like, I'm the star here. I get to be the fattest and you're overshadowing me.
Literally overshadowing
literally.
you. Yes.
Suitable Mistake Production said, haha, about the ads trailer thing. That was me. He said that trailers aren't ads.
Well, you're wrong. and that was a whore. I'm sorry. I almost banned you that day, bro. I almost banned you. I was like, that type of semantic argument should be illegal. Illegal.
EF said, how can fat people be marginalized when they take up so much room?
They're majority. They're majoritied.
So that's a joke Kathy Griffin would have done 10 years ago. Now she would think that's just treacherous.
Yeah, it's awful. So do one more. There was one $2
Marco
one there.
sent a $2 super chat with no message.
All right, let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back after the fact. Let's keep going, guys. Let's talk about celebrities and politics for a little bit, because Taylor Swift recently came out and she's pushing her fans to go register to vote. It's all so very predictable and annoying every time the election cycle comes around. The celebrities, they're boring people and they don't know how to connect with regular individuals, so they have to pretend like they care about politics.
All of the social media platforms, immediately when we get into election season, they give you pop-up ads essentially to register to vote. And I
Yeah.
opened Spotify the other day and it was like, register to vote. It's voting season.
Like if you post a
Like you're literally harassing me.
if you post like a story on your Instagram and you go down
Yes.
to like the gift section, one of the ones that's immediately is like, register to vote, where to vote. I'm like, why
Yeah.
did you care? Why do you, the social media
We
platform,
know why.
care?
We know why.
Yes, we know why.
So
but-
Taylor Swift put on her Instagram stories, I've been so lucky to see so many of you guys at my US shows recently. I've heard you raise your voices and I know how powerful they are. Make sure you're ready to use them in our elections this year. Register to vote in less than 2 minutes at vote.org.
Ironic, considering that her voice is actually 100 times more powerful, probably, than all of them put together, given the reach she has.
Yeah.
But yes, but not just her. Now people were saying like they were interested in like what people were going to be saying about who to vote for. Well, the reason I wanted to talk about it is because there's some celebrities who are making some interesting choices. Pierce Brosnan throws his support behind RFK, which strikes fury from fans. They're not happy with him. They're calling him a traitor.
They're mad with anything that doesn't go along with the Joe Biden DNC agenda. I mean, Biden's even trying to change the rules of the primaries in New Hampshire and everything to try and push Kennedy and Marianne Williamson, these other candidates, out because they don't want to have a fair primary. So this isn't shocking.
I love some of these comments here. This one says, damn, thought Pierce was a decent man. Guess not.
Bond is a traitor. Disappointed. Looks like Pierce Brosnan got canceled. He was my least favorite Bond anyway.
Like, okay, now this is, I hate that because you know that they're lying. Like, look, people always say that. They're like, I never liked him anyways. I'm
Right.
like, you liked him.
You liked him.
You just like your politics
And you're still
more.
gonna like him, okay? It's just the echo chamber online, you know?
Yes. Another one. I don't know if it's one of these ads, but like one person said like, or like one of the comments on the article said like Pierce Brosnan was always better than Daniel Craig anyways. And the guy's like, you must be a mega Republican or something, as if somehow that has any
Okay.
correlation.
Right. Well, that's how people discredit you now online. I mean, if you say anything, let's say you say something that's common sense, used to be widely accepted, they'll comment and say, you far right MAGA conspiracy theorist. And it's like, wait, this used to be totally understood by everybody, but it's almost just a way to discredit. Like they call Kennedy a conspiracy theorist and all these things. So people should be able to make their own minds up.
Someone
I
told
don't-
you you're trying to destroy America.
Yeah, you'll say something like, hey, like I said earlier, don't think biological men should be in women's sports, call me crazy. And then you'll have some social justice person being like, you're terrible, you're destroying the country. It's like, little old me, really? So yeah, people are just nuts.
And I think what it is, a lot of these celebrities, I don't think they realize the size of the monster that they helped create. I don't. Like, I don't think these guys realize that you're no longer allowed to support alternative candidates even within your own party.
Right.
I know that James Vanderbeek got some pushback when he also said, like, the idea that we're not going to have a primary, that they don't want to have a primary
Right.
when the president is very clearly showing signs of deterioration. I don't think they realize that the culture that Hollywood has embraced has pushed us to create this very, very large echo chamber that is essentially controlled by DNC mainstream, and that means that alternative candidates, I mean, I would like to have known whether Pierce Brosnan, whether he would have gotten behind somebody like Tulsi Gabbard back when she was still a member of the party, right? Like,
Right. Well, I think also like 73% of Americans do not want Joe Biden to seek re-election. So it's not crazy to think that people are out there looking to other candidates. People don't want Joe Biden to have a second term.
there's a $20 one there from the Ninja from Pop Culture
Planet. Taylor Swift brought to you by Pfizer.
Yes. I mean, that was kind of like, what's his name? The tennis player who was
Djokovic? Or?
Yeah, who was very pro, like he was anti-mandate, and then he won the U.S. Open sponsored by Moderna, which was really, really funny.
Right.
Yeah, and
Well, there's so much shame, you know, if people don't want to get vaccinated or they feel like it's not the choice for their body, there's so much shame and ostracization in society. It's like people should have autonomy over their own bodies.
so it says that Brosnan in the past, he backed Barack Obama, he backed John Kerry, congratulated Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Like, look, the guy he just wants to live in an actual liberal society where you can go based on ideas, and he supports this guy's ideas, but the establishment and the people that are going to shill for them aren't going to allow it.
Right.
And it wasn't just him. Eric Clapton was also pro RFK. I'm picturing
Right.
Eric Clapton and Pete Parada now hanging out. That'd be cool. Right? Yeah, he threw a fundraiser for him and helped him raise $2.2 million. So now I guess
you
they're
said
all
that what makes RFK a little bit of a defector from the rest of the Democrat Party
Anti-mandate,
is his vaccine mandate take.
He was very critical of vaccine mandates and stuff like that. Also, Eric Clapton was anti-mask and like mandate for concerts and stuff. Like he's like, I'm not gonna make people show proof of a vaccination to go to my concerts, and he got some pushback for
I
that.
think Mark Cuban wouldn't even do an interview with the woman because she didn't get vaccinated. Did
Mark
you guys
Cuban's
see this?
Mark Cuban's a nut job.
Yeah.
He's a rich nut job, but he's a nut job.
Yeah, shout out to you, Mark Cuban.
Was he the one? No, it wasn't him. Who was the guy who was? It was like the somebody who owned one of the basketball teams. I don't think it was Mark Cuban. I might have said that before, but I think I was wrong with that. Who basically said like somebody brought up like the slave labor from the Uyghur, like the slaves in China, the Uyghur Muslims, and he just basically said nobody cares, and got caught on camera saying nobody cares, and nothing happened. Like.
The one person I do like who really speaks the truth is Dana White. I don't keep up with UFC at all, but whenever Dana White says anything, I'm like, you know what? This is a guy who's keeping it all the way real and isn't scared of getting canceled.
Well, yeah, it was like when they brought up, like, what was the fight that was like 6 months or a year ago, and they brought up like the race of the people fighting, and he's like, we don't care.
Right.
We don't care. It's not important.
He also endorsed Sound of Freedom, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He was like, he got tickets for anybody who was in UFC to see it, I think. Like, he made some path forward for all of them to go, as if the people wouldn't have been able to afford to go see it. But yeah, like he's Dana White is also one of those ones. He's kind of allowed to exist outside that sphere because he built his own infrastructure.
Right, for
He's
sure.
got it. He owns his own thing. So when you have that type of, it's like when they talk about the idea of like money isn't about having money. It's about the freedom to live how you want to live. And there is honestly no better way to look at that than the people who have built their own empires or own businesses who are allowed to be like an Elon Musk or a Dana White to share their opinions without having the fear of being put out of commission because they've built it themselves. So they have the infrastructure around them to do that.
For sure.
So, yeah. Like
I know it's annoying when all of these celebrities decide to become politically outspoken and they use election season to do that and to virtue signal. But at the same time, it would be so annoying in their position to have people coming at you for not speaking about politics. And that's happened to a lot of, especially like even Olivia Rodrigo had like this hate thread about her, how she's not politically revolutionary enough. Yeah. And it's worrying that Gen Z is behind Olivia Rodrigo because she's not political enough. And then all of these Gen Z kids are in the replies trying to be like, no, she was against the overturning of Roe v. Wade and she did this and that and she's Filipina, so that means that
well, it's either like you're not political at all, or if you are political, you have to be for the DNC Joe Biden agenda. You can't go against it. So it's kind of like a catch-22. You're kind of screwed if you do, screwed if you don't, right?
Yeah. And like
were there any celebrities that like supported Bernie Sanders?
Dude,
sure.
endless amounts of I could probably pull up
and
a
most
list.
of them are,
like,
I think a lot of them have moved to Cornel West. I think there's a lot of movement online for Cornel West.
No, there
and
was
the Green
an
Party.
insane amount of support behind Bernie Sanders. Like literally champagne socialists
In Hollywood.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, well they didn't really get much pushback for that.
I mean that was
Here's the difference, Mary. That go around, let's say in 2020 and 2016, you had an actual primary with debate, so people could see them on the debate stage next to each other. Biden's not willing to stand next to anybody on the debate stage in debate, so they all look like they're coming after the crown DNC person chosen from on high. So that's kind of the difference, I think.
And they ended up screwing him over anyways. There's a whole, it's really funny. There's a whole list here of people that supported him. Like beyond, it starts with the politicians and then goes down and says activists, humanitarians and labor leaders, journalists and commentators, business people, scholars and academics, writers, filmmakers, and visual artists. So you've got a whole list of them here. Werner Herzog, some of these Nicole Eisman, like these are all artists and stuff like that, but the actors, like they might not have curated that list. Okay, so here actors: Dave Bautista,
it's kind of random.
John Cusack, who
Is that Mark Ruffalo?
Yes. John Cusack, who just recently, he's another one I didn't put on this list, who threw his weight, who basically said that Joe Biden is like that the DNC is abandon the middle class.
Well, hold on. Nobody wanted Joe Biden. This notion that people really wanted Joe Biden in 2020 was a freaking fallacy. Okay, Joe Biden lost the Iowa caucus to the freaking mayor of South Bend, Indiana. Like this, nobody wanted Joe Biden. He was shoved down our throats in 2020, and they're trying to do it again.
So here we go. Zoe Kravitz, Ted Levine, Justin Long, like Ezra Miller. There you go. Fantastic endorsement.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Justin Long endorsement.
Emily Ratatouille, Tim Robbins, Mark Ruffalo, Kendrick Sampson, Susan Sarandon, Morgan Spector, Cole Sprouse, Tessa Thompson.
Cole Sprouse.
Yeah. Dick Van Dyke.
Hey.
Shailene Woodley. Michael Bennett, Danny So now there's athletes here, comedians. Like Joe Rogan threw his support behind Bernie Sanders early on.
But see, look, now that Joe Rogan has expressed views that go against the mainstream, like the vaccination stuff, he gets called far-right MAGA, and he's like, I was a Bernie Sanders guy.
Haley Bieber is on this list. TJ Kirk, Hannah Hart, like all sorts of people threw their weight behind Bernie Sanders because, you're allowed to support who you want to support. But nowadays, it just seems like you're not allowed to do that anymore.
I just
Everybody
hate
gets
when they
labeled.
act like they're brave and
Right.
going against the grain by speaking out. They're like, I was scared to do this, but I have to take a stand. I have to use my platform for good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand by silently anymore.
It's guilt. It's just weaponized guilt.
I just don't believe that they really feel like they're taking a risk by becoming
That's the worst part of Hollywood, right?
outspoken.
Like they used to be outspoken in a conservative society where it actually was kind of a risk that you could lose your sponsorships because they were run by conservative companies. Now it's like you're both the establishment, but you also want the kudos from being the one taking the risk, which is why people hate you so much now because you're pretending to be brave. It's literally stolen valor. Worse than me wearing my brother's Boy Scouts uniform for picture day one year. Somebody brought that up the other. Yeah, when I was young.
I made it to first class in Boy Scouts. Did not get to Eagle Scout, but yeah.
It's something.
Yeah.
Something.
So just and at the end,
The silence after I said that was deafening.
celebrities when election season come around are always more insufferable than usual, even though they're usually insufferable year round.
Right.
Now it's coordinated towards specific.
Well, now they have more media outlets. So
Yeah.
they have TikTok, which wasn't really around in the last election. They have way more social media. So,
TikTok wasn't around in 2020.
Not so much. I think it became really big during the pandemic, so kind of was around, but I don't think it was what it is now at all.
So it's bigger
It was
now.
more TikTok at that point was mostly dances and trending audios, but now you have a lot
Right.
more people. Like I do commentating and cultural stuff, so I think people are going to
Yeah.
speaking up more.
So when they were talking about Russell Brand being banned from TikTok, I'm imagining Russell Brand talking about Moderna while doing some dance. Like, no, thank you. Because TikTok does longer videos now too. Like you can do
Yeah,
Up
they
to 10
changed
minutes.
the platform, and
up
that
to-
was after the pandemic.
Right.
Like
That's why I didn't really get into it till like 11, 12 months ago, because I was like, okay, I don't want to do these dances, these trending audios. You only can do a minute.
Yeah.
So now you can have a little more fun. Speak your mind.
Yeah, it's and when the celebrities do it, like it's just always gonna feel silver spoon to me. Like I guess like does anybody really buy that they're doing their research? Like I just don't buy that they're looking into all this stuff and actually looking into what they want. They're going by what it's going to do for their career, not what they want those politicians to be able to do for their fellow man.
And who you're around. I mean, the people around you influence how you're going to vote, how you're going to think. Like when I was going to NYU, living in New York, the most liberal school on earth, where kids would call into class and say, I'm anxious, I can't come to class. You start to kind of hear all this stuff and it's pushed onto you and you think, oh, well, all my peers feel this way and they're voting this way. And then once you step out of that and you travel to other parts of the country, you live in other parts of the country, you really start to make up your own mind and see, oh my God, I don't stand by any of that.
Yeah.
So I don't totally blame the celebrities. I mean, if you're living in that Hollywood LA bubble and everybody's voting Democrat, but I will say there are a ton of celebrities who are secret closet conservatives and closet Republicans. They're just scared to get canceled. They're scared to come out and say it.
Yeah. They don't want to have to go through all the work that would come from rebranding,
Right.
starting over.
Unless they're Kid Rock and they just totally embrace it.
Who's more important for candidates to get on their side, influencers or traditional mainstream celebrities?
Well, the influencers are being paid by the DNC allegedly. So I would say the influencers, yeah.
You had this unplanned debate with Harry Sisson on Breaking Points that I don't want to sprinkle that in there if you want to talk
Yeah, no, I
about
was
it.
on Breaking Points with Harry Sisson, and there's a clip on my TikTok. I chose the best clips. But yeah, it was basically his management company has accepted $210,000 from the DNC and we're supposed to believe that he's not bought off or paid for at all. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and he looks like if an algorithm fed you an image of like what a Gen
100%.
Z person looks like.
I literally, like Harry Sisson, Crystal Ball, they could teach a masterclass in gaslighting with their talking points and their vote blue no matter who BS. I mean, they just push and push and push all of this stuff. So yeah, no, when your management is getting over $200,000 from the DNC and they're trying to push Joe Biden talking points, that's concerning. Also, these people, they're not putting FTC notices on their videos like this is a paid advertisement, which
is crazy.
Yeah.
That was a big deal when it became known that you had to advertise, my name is so and so and I approve this message.
Right, and that's why people will sometimes say, oh, they don't like me or they don't like what I have to say. At least I've never taken money from a political party, and if I'm saying it, it's what I believe, and I'm not just a mouthpiece for anybody else. But I think I'm one of the last influencers on TikTok who's doing political commentary who hasn't taken money from a political party. Money.
I'll go ahead and put this out there right now. If anybody wants to pay me, I'll say whatever the hell you
Look,
want.
Peter
Like,
Thiel.
I don't care. Like
Peter Thiel, give me the money. I will say whatever you want me to say.
I've been offered some things, but no, I just want to stay independent and speak my mind, because I think if you take money and then that comes out, you're canceled forever. And it's like, I do have integrity, so I'd rather just stay the course. But
I will take the money. Just give me the money.
I don't have principles.
RFK.
I'm gonna just start lying about my beliefs.
Yeah. If Joe Biden wants to come send me some money.
If the DNC dropped $200K on this table, it looks like they already did.
Yeah.
But if they did, are you guys taking it at least for a couple months and pushing the Biden talking points?
I'm going to be like, you know what? That Dark Brandon meme was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. Like maybe I won't push the talking points, but like, I mean, look at him. He's so cool looking.
These kids are so delusional. They basically say what Karine Jean-Pierre says every day, the White House press secretary. They're like, Biden has made historic investments in the border. He's done more for the border than anybody else. And I'm like, well, why are we having record numbers of border crossings? So anyway, it's just this gaslighting that goes on. Or they post videos, look how hot Joe Biden looks on the beach. He's such a man in a swimsuit. And I'm like,
look at him stretch.
There's no way I am Gen Z. You're Gen Z. There's no way Gen Z really believes that. You have to be getting a hefty check to be pushing that out there.
They're talking about how Joe Biden looks hot on the beach.
Oh, look at him with his cat backward. It's like, you have to be taking
He's so
money for
cool.
that.
All right, let's go to Super Chats. With that being said, let's go to Super Chats.
Yes.
The ninja from Pop Culture Planet said it's because they need to use rulers. I don't know what that means. Hiroshima Otaru said ads are fine if they aren't charging a monthly fee.
Well, yeah, like that's why I don't watch Tubi, I don't watch Freevee, I don't watch any of those streaming services that have, I mean, the ad tier services, from what I understand, there's just less of the ads than what you would get if you're watching it on one of those free ones. And that's a bummer too, because a lot of the shows that I really love, they're not considered viable enough to put on the non-ad supported ones. You have to find them on like a Freevee or a Tubi, and I just don't want to have to watch the ads. Sucks.
John Stewart said Matt did an interpretive dance at the end of one of his show episodes when he got to a milestone, or someone dressed the same as Matt with a full face mask on dance. Conspiracies abound. Happy Friday.
See, I love the idea that he just maybe when he does his research for his segments, he dances as he reads.
Dancing, yeah.
Like I love that idea that his wife doesn't approve, so he has to do it at the office.
Yeah.
Like she's like, look, you've got 6 kids, you got to be the man of the house, no dancing. And he's like, I love to dance. I need to dance.
Conservatives just want to dance.
They just want to dance.
Shane H. Wilder said the look on Mary's face as her soul tries to leave her body during the Carrie Lake video.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. The ninja from Pop Culture Planet, Tacti Platty said, my dogs try to bring in dead mice or rabbits that they capture.
And they look for approval from you.
That's weird.
And then one from Shane H. Wilder.
To quote Pink Floyd, leave them kids alone.
Leave them kids alone. Yes, please leave the kids alone. All right, Mary, tell us what's going on with Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift is about to put out Taylor's version of 1989, her album from, I believe, 2014, right? And she has the vault tracks, which are tracks that were not on the original that she's letting people hear for the first time. The first one to resurface is Slut. It's literally titled Slut with an exclamation point. And I haven't heard it yet, but I would assume, based on the title, that this song is about slut shaming. And because of that, her comments about slut shaming from 2019 have resurfaced from an interview she did. And she's talking about what it was like to be in the public eye at around the time that 1989 came out, and she was 23. So she said, when I was 23 and people were just kind of reducing me to making slideshows of my dating life and putting people in there that I'd sat next to at a party once and deciding that my songwriting was like a trick rather than a skill or a craft. In a way, it's figuring out how to completely minimize that skill by taking something that everyone in their darkest moments loves to do, which is to slut shame. That happened to me at a very young age, so that was a bit hard. That was one of the first times I was like, wow, this isn't fair. I don't think people understand how easy it is to infer that someone who's a female artist or a female in our industry is somehow doing something wrong by wanting love, wanting money, wanting success. Women are not allowed to want these things the way that men are allowed to want them. And
Is that true, Mary? I'm not a woman, so I don't know. Is that true?
I think that male and female celebrities are under just as much of a microscope in their personal lives. Yeah. People are talking about the personal lives of male celebrities all the time and digging into their relationships and substance abuse and all of these things that should be private. The paparazzi don't respect anybody's privacy.
Nope.
It's not a sexist thing. It's a celebrity thing. It's part of the job.
Yep.
And it comes off as really whiny and entitled to act like you don't benefit from it as well. We were talking about this before the show, that the tabloids and the media has this symbiotic relationship with celebrities where they benefit from celebrities making their lives public stunts, and the celebrities benefit from being talked about.
Yeah,
and
no, there's definitely a symbiotic relationship
not
with
victims.
celebrities. Right. Well, I think with Taylor Swift, just to give her a little benefit of the doubt, I think if you are 18, 19, 20, 21 and you're dating, it is a little difficult to have people prying in. Like, if I look back at who I was dating at 18 and 19, I wouldn't want that documented, for the world to see. But then she's also this megastar now selling out stadiums, so it didn't hurt her in the long run. So hopefully she can move through whatever trauma she has from that time. Maybe we'll hear it on the song.
Trauma? Look, she...
In the chat, Andrina says, but they don't slut shame the males, though.
I don't think that Taylor Swift has been slut shamed in any meaningful way in the media.
Nobody's calling her a slut. They're saying you're a serial dater. You're a serial dater.
Exactly. And that's most celebrities anyway. But Taylor Swift has not been slut shamed.
I'm just scared to say anything because the Swifties are going to dox me. They're going to cut the brakes on my car. So Swifties, I love you, Swifties. Taylor Swift, I love you. Don't dox me.
I mean,
if there's a red dot on my forehead.
Do you see her out partying?
Yeah.
Do you see her out partying with Sophie Turner?
Yes.
Twice. More than once. Twice.
She's out partying with Sophie Turner. And look, I'm not just going to act like it's sexist that people speculate who Taylor Swift's songs are about. That's a normal thing.
Yeah. No, I think she embraces it too. She's not going to confirm it.
She embraces it and benefits from
it. Helps. Yeah.
One of her songs is about Joe Jonas, and Sophie Turner talked about how she likes the song.
Right.
And now they have this weird friendship after they've gotten divorced.
Aren't they basically, is it Eskimo sisters? Like if you've gone out with the same guy?
Yeah.
So now Sophie Turner and Taylor Swift are Eskimo sisters because they both slept with Joe Jonas, allegedly.
Yeah.
Is it called Eskimo sisters as opposed? I know Eskimo brothers.
Know.
Is there a different one for sisters? I figured there'd be a different one for sisters.
Yeah, there's an equal one for women. But like her whole thing is being seen as a crazy ex-girlfriend. She's not really seen as a slut.
Maybe it's because if you're a guy,
she's seen as actually like very innocent and girl next door compared to a lot of pop artists.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's been her persona for many, many years. She's not able to even pull off the bad girl phase in her Reputation
Well, I think
era.
she even embraced some of that on the Blank Space kind of music video and era, playing kind of like the crazy, clingy girlfriend who goes psycho. So I think she's embraced that and sort of made art about that for sure. But I think we always try to put celebrities into different archetypes if they're at that level. And so maybe she's just trying to break out of that now. I mean, I'm curious to hear what the song is about. Is it like, I've been slut shamed? Or what if
that's
it's like...
the lyric. It's like, I've been slut shamed.
Yeah. Or what if she's like, hey, I am. Like, what if what if the song is like, hey, I did
Mighty
have
Rax
some fun.
has an interesting point. He says Russell Brand's getting shamed. Yeah, if you're a guy, you don't get shamed for being a slut. You just get accused of bad behavior and told that you're taking advantage of women.
Also, the thing about Taylor Swift is, like, if you get a little slut shamed, you're going to have to take it with a grain of salt, because the roster of guys you've gone out with, like, I would take a little criticism for a night with Jake Gyllenhaal, you know, for a night with Tom Hiddleston. So you got to kind of take the good with the bad, you know?
I saw somebody say earlier, they said they were talking about like Taylor Swift is going to save Joe Biden by running for president. So he said she'll lose the election because of the amount of boyfriends she's broken up with. Like, there's so many of them that they'll vote against her.
Oh my
and then
God.
You
she'll
know,
end up
people
losing
were
the
also
election.
saying it's misogynistic that Taylor Swift got heat for dating Maddie Healy, because Maddie Healy has a lot of controversy thrown at him. He's called a racist, he's called a misogynist and a transphobe, and a lot of
But also like
things.
an artsy British rocker. So I don't know why they expect all this from him.
It's not. They're like, her fans defending her over that relationship were saying they weren't dating officially, they were just hooking up. It's different. Like,
I thought that
so,
was bad. I thought
so
they weren't
it's
supposed to hook up.
Is it okay to hook up with someone who is basically Hitler? Like, I don't get it. What's the distinction? What is the distinction?
It says she's not giving you the official stamp of approval. She's just having sex
She's
with
just
him.
giving him the Gluck Gluck
Yeah.
9000. It's different.
Exactly. It's totally
It doesn't
different.
matter that he's racist.
Taylor, I have nothing to
Doesn't
do with
make
this
her
conversation. Taylor Swift, Swifties, I have nothing to do with this. I don't know where I am.
You
We hit a
disavow.
deer on the way
You
here. I don't know.
You got kidnapped.
Oh, the Swifties are crazy.
The deer was actually sent by the Swiftie lobby.
No,
Yeah.
literally, Swifties,
They're,
go
like,
easy
trying to
on
stop
me,
you.
man. Heroes tour.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting discussion to have for someone like her who's made her private life so public with her music.
She's the pop star that your grandma also thinks is cool.
From
And
8
I
to
just
80,
don't-
8 to 80. That's how she sells out those
Yeah.
shows, baby.
Don't ruin that for your career and your public image. Like, I don't know. I just think it's distasteful.
Honestly, Slut sounds like a song that Olivia Rodrigo would put out. Doesn't it sound like something she would put out and be like,
Yeah.
I'm a slut?
Yeah.
You know, be
Yeah,
like
it
that.
does.
So
It
I'm kind of
does.
anticipating, what if it's like her owning it and being like, I had a lot of fun in my 20s, more fun than you girls.
What did
you
Olivia
know?
Rodrigo call herself? Like, I'm an all-American bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so
you're so unoriginal.
it's very cringy.
Yeah.
Makes me
Yeah.
glad that I'm too old.
And they're like,
to
she's just a
understand what any of this is."
20-year-old teenage girl. She
Right.
doesn't know what she's doing.
Exactly.
Like, all of this just makes me so glad that I've aged out of any of this.
Right.
It
Well,
really
I don't
does.
really listen to Olivia Rodrigo either, but I just imagine that's what it would be.
No, in the frequently asked questions for Olivia Rodrigo's Guts tour,
Okay.
it says, if my parents bought tickets with their credit card, do they need to come with me and attend the concert with me?
Oh my
And
gosh.
present their credit card and ID? So, I mean, she knows who her audience is. It's children.
Also, I think Taylor Swift's a genius marketer, and here we are talking about the song because it's called Slut, so she's winning once again.
She always
Here we
wins.
are. Yeah,
She
she's
always
winning.
wins.
She's not exactly Miley Cyrus.
What I
Like,
love is calling your album 1989 when you were only live for like a minute in 1989. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
she
she
was
like
barely
claimed,
alive in
she
1989.
claimed that
The
whole
whole
year.
year.
Right.
Like I was born with 2 weeks left in 1989, but that's
Right.
my year.
There's a $20 super chat from Turkey-based her.
Okay. It says non sequitur. Look into the Hash House Harriers, a drinking club with a running problem. We're a fantastic example of people coming together over a common cause.
I don't know what a drinking club is.
I don't know what that
Is that like
means.
different from a bar?
I think it's an AA meeting. I don't know.
Is that
Is
what
it a
we're talking-
running club with a drinking problem?
A drinking
Or is it
club?
a drinking club with a running problem? That's
Yeah,
the
I
real
have no
question.
idea.
I completely don't understand what you're saying, but
So Taylor Swift
Go
is
off.
what now? She's 36 or something
no,
like that?
she's, let me.
Or no,
let me
because
look.
if she's born in 89, she has to be like, what,
Math.
34?
Math
a
class
baby.
is tough.
She's a 34-year-old.
She's 33.
She's a 33-year-old
Okay.
teenager. She can
Looks
barely
great.
tie her own shoes. I can't believe you're holding her responsible. Meanwhile, she's hosting these massive tours that are like working harder than anyone else in the industry. She's
Right.
about to have like the highest grossing movie of the year by accident, just
Yeah.
because like they didn't have anything else to release, and they're
Right.
like, oh, she can
Have a
barely.
Taylor Swift movie.
That's what we need. The world needs as
Right.
much as I don't care about Taylor Swift. If these studios want to make money again,
I
they'll just
so
release
miss
nothing but Taylor Swift
I
movies.
miss the old Taylor Swift because, like, I remember this interview she did where someone point blank asked her, like, are you a feminist? Or like, what do you think about feminism? And the way she skirted around that question so expertly to avoid, you know,
angering one side or the other,
of being like, you know, I really support women. I think that movements can sometimes go in like in extremes, and like,
So she's gonna be a politician.
This was in the 2000s, and she was so smart about staying out of politics for so long, and then changed course when it became strategically beneficial for her to do so, and that's what she did with her documentary. It's not. I don't like this new Taylor that has a new fan base that doesn't recognize.
Well, I mean, her
old
fan
stuff.
base is enormous. Her fan base is
But
encompassing.
she had a
people.
millennial fan base.
I wonder if I would. Do you think there are any RFK voters in a at a Taylor Swift concert?
I don't know if there are many voters
For
at all
sure.
at a Taylor Swift concert.
I would like to know.
I just think like she used to have a millennial fan base, and then she rebranded, and now she has a Gen Z fan base that doesn't remember any of that. And they're just kind of molding her into whatever they want her to be, because she is
Forever.
that relatable, like uber relatable girl next door figure.
Could she? Where did you see Taylor Swift last? Was it at Hobby Lobby? Was it at Target? Maybe you saw her at Walmart. Probably not Walmart, but you definitely saw her at a Hobby Lobby or a Target. There's a $20 one there again from Turkey-based her.
Okay, he said, I'm committing $40 to this shameless self-promotion. We are a drinking club with a running problem, like a treasure hunt, and we transcend petty differences to unify over booze and aerobics.
Hey.
Google it in your spare time.
Hash House Harriers. he's
Okay.
saying.
Have fun with that.
I can't drink, but you know, like good for you guys. If you're having fun, I say go ahead and have fun.
Live your
On
best
that note,
lives.
let's finish off these super chats. James Orenthal Wen said, "Remember when Madonna called her son this? Ooh, did she call her son the N-word?
I don't remember that.
No, I'm not touching this topic.
I disavow. I looked up Hash House Harriers online on Wikipedia. It says the Hash House Harriers, Triple H or H3. Triple H is a pro wrestler, so I disavow that interpretation. Says is a group of non-competitive running social clubs, an event organized by a club known as Hash.
Thank you."
So
It has a Wikipedia page.
that's a Wikipedia. Apparently,
Okay.
the men are referred to as hashers, or the men are referred to as harriers, and the women are referred to as harriettes.
Okay, I thought it was going to be hashers and hashettes.
No.
Well, I guess we're promoting them now.
Good for them. I actually, I don't know.
I'm
Like,
worried.
like,
I don't know
like,
if we should be
I don't
promoting this
know.
right now.
I don't know if we're promoting them, but we're letting them promote
I have
themselves.
no idea what's happening with them, but
Yeah.
thanks for sending in the super chat.
Most hashing clubs gather on a weekly or monthly basis. However, some events occur sporadically. It says at a hash, one or more members lay a trail, which is then followed by the remainder of the group. Pack, flour, or
So
chalk
they're
are
going
usu-
like geocaching.
Hey,
while
dude,
drunk.
I'll never forget when my friend explained geocaching to me
It's
like
so
years
stupid.
back, and I was just like, no, I was just like, you know what this is? This is the perfect example of why you have it so good here in America, because geocaching is a thing,
Right.
Like because that's allowed to be a thing. You just understand that you just have it very good here. You
What,
do.
like somebody isn't going to be waiting for you in the forest?
You just have the
to,
time
like, stab
that
to
you have the
death?
time to do it.
Oh, okay.
Like the
Yeah.
fact that it's a thing at all.
Yeah. I can't do geocaching. I don't want ticks and bugs and insects, so
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing geocaching.
I know a guy who knows a guy who just got bitten by the tick that gives you an allergy to meat.
Oh, no.
It's like to red meat. He can't eat red meat for the rest of his life.
That's awful.
I
Yeah,
know,
no.
and that's like
I'm
terrifying.
craving a burger.
I'm never gonna go
that's awful.
outside again. I swear. Bang Bang Lulu said, "I feel like as crisis actors, we deserve a raise and recognition." How do we give you a raise when you just gave us $10?
Okay.
Do we give you back the
Yes.
$10? Like,
Yes.
I don't get it.
I see one comment about me from Corey Anderson. So
What is it?
Hey Corey, it says, "Thanks for having Draco Malfoy on the show." Yep, heard
The
that.
shade.
Heard that a couple hundred times.
Shane H. Wilder said Clapton went against the vax after taking the first dose and it causing temporary paralysis in his arms. Wow.
That is up Kennedy's alley.
Did he say that?
I don't know if he said that, but if he did, it sounds like something very RFK Jr.-esque. So.
Okay. Nate said, Brett, has a mainstream celeb deviated from the Democratic Party, or is it entirely third rail to do so? Mary says they all got ghettoized.
There are people who vote third party, right? Like who would be somebody who hasn't been ghettoized? Can you think of somebody who hasn't been?
Neocons, like old
Yeah, but that doesn't really
neocons?
count. Those are people that are like, actually I don't know, like I was watching
like Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood is still allowed to exist in Hollywood. Mel Gibson is still
But he's
allowed
at
to.
an age where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
he's Clint Eastwood, so.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, we don't know how Chris Pratt votes. We just know
he
that
just
he
likes
wore
Gadsden flag t-shirts.
yeah, so we don't really know how he votes, but he's still allowed to work within the industry. The smart
Zachary
one, the other ones,
Levi.
they just don't talk about it or they don't care.
But also, it's like, can't people just mind their own business? Like, why do you care so much about like what some celebrity, who they're voting for? Go watch their movie, listen to their music, or don't.
I'm reading the second to last chat here from Kellen. Kellen says, Brett is mogging hard today. Whole Timcast compound can hear it. What exactly?
Everyone can hear you screaming from downstairs, Brett.
No, they're playing poker.
It's very
They don't care.
rude.
Well, that's too bad.
Quiet down.
Sorry, I'm doing my job.
Kellen! Okay. Corey Anderson said, what is it like being... Mary, what is it like being a modern day Jane Mansfield but chaste? I don't know who that is.
Thank you, Corey.
Am I ignorant? I don't know who that is. Corey Anderson, yeah, the Draco Malfoy comment. And then he said, so merch with Gluck Gluck 9000 on it will sell like hotcakes. I'll buy 5 of whatever. Look, that was invented by the Call Her Daddy podcast, not me.
I'm sure they already sold so much merch.
And they did sell many a merch.
So you're gonna have to change it to 8,000 or a different number.
9,001.
And there's one more there from
Bucky Ducky said, I'd literally beep myself if I couldn't eat red meat. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, but best to not say it. All right, guys, thank you so much for all the super chats today. Before we go, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Remember to turn the notification bell on when you subscribe so that you get notified anytime a live stream goes live or a segment goes up. Thank you very much for that. Link, my friend, thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. Shout out to your audience. Thank you guys for having me out here. And y'all better like this because I love Brett and Mary.
Let everyone know where they can find you.
So you can find me on Twitter and TikTok at It's Link Lauren, and have a great weekend.
All other links for your YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, they're all in the description, guys.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
All right, guys, if you want to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show, again, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. I have not forgotten about the poll. I am going to do it right now, so don't even say it.
What is the poll?
I know what you're saying, guys. I asked everybody.
This
I
is
said
the most obvious poll ever, Brett. Like, you knew what was going to win.
Well, you know what?
Who likes advertisements?
They say they hate it.
Yeah, so, well, I put no, they don't bother you. So maybe you don't hate them, but they don't bother you.
Okay.
With 82%, they say yes, they hate ads. And 17% say
Shocking.
no. Well, 17% of people say no.
Imagine my shock right now.
17% of people don't seem to mind. I've actually talked to people who said they don't mind ads.
No,
They don't
that's when
mind.
I check my phone and scroll through my phone, and then when it's coming back on, put the phone down.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I see an ad and I'm like,
Yep.
I'm going to buy that product.
Yep.
Right.
And Mighty Rax says, Brett, did you review The Expendables? Yes, I did. It will be up tomorrow during the day. I recorded a quick review after I went and saw it last night. So be on the lookout for that. Also, guys, I will be on the Ballers show with Mandy Summers, Shane Davis, and Dale Keown tonight at 10 p.m. Again, I do not know if I'm going to be there for all 4 hours of that show. That is a long day at the office. But check out that show tonight right here on YouTube. And the show is here Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you'd like to listen to the audio version of this podcast. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode on Monday. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.